Good evening, welcome to Poker Night Live, the creme de la creme of TV internet poker. We've got oodles of Texas No Limit Hold'em for you right through till 2 o'clock in the morning. And you, of course, have your chance to have your say on Poker Night Live because we are fully interactive. This is how you can do it. You can text us here live in the studio. That is method number 1. Here is the number, poker, that's what you've got to write, and send it with your question to 84222. Or you can email us. Here is the email address. You should know it by now, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. While you are on your personal computer, why not have a look at the website? There it is, www.pokernightlive.co.uk, where you can find out more about the wonderful show and the wonderful game of poker. Well, tonight I'm joined by none other than international celebrity and face of blondepoker.com, the highly modest Tony Tikay Kendall. How are you doing, Tony? Nice to have you on the show. Last time I saw you, I was trying to nick your blind with 10-3 suited, I think, on Thursday.
I think it was 10-4, actually.
Ah, yeah, there must have been a reason why I was playing.
Bravely defended, if I'm not mistaken.
No, you were out of there. I got called by Ace King and knocked out.
Yes, that's right, yes. It was at the Sportsman. Did you enjoy that?
Well, I did till I got knocked out. It's normally that way with me. How did you get on? Because you were still playing when I left.
Oh, I won it.
This is Tony Kendall irony. No, you didn't win it, TK.
No, not exactly, no. I busted out about 3 tables from home. About normal for me.
Okay.
Tremendous fun, though. Shared a table with James Vogel, the bracelet winner.
Of course, yeah.
And he was very quiet, very well behaved, had no hands. But good fun. Great venue, the Sportsman, I thought.
Difficult starting table for both of us, I thought.
Oh, just a bit, yes. Particularly when you get no cards and there's plenty of action and there's a couple of Larry guys there. But a really nice venue, good structure, good clock, good dealers. Couldn't wish for more.
There you go. That's live poker, but here it's internet poker. TK, why don't you take us around the tables?
I'd love to do that. This evening, for your delectation, we start off with a $10 sit and go, which as you see is already in progress. Quite a big hand going off there. Ace, Queen against 10s on a King, King, Jack 6-3 board. And then we're going to move on shortly after that to a $20 sit and go, which is in progress, but it's in the early stages. Blinds are still 10-20. We'll be going back to join that one, where I believe Johan Haran is going to be the winner. So that's going to be quite interesting. We also have a 25-cent, 50-cent cash table, where the beautifully named Pigeon Head is sitting there with $71 and Nix with $75. We'll be paying visits to that all evening to see how these guys get on with their cash. And finally we have a $10 MTT, multi-table tournament, which has begun already. It's in early stages, 10-20. Ooh. And there's some hand on there. Ooh, trip threes, pair of queens, pair of jacks. And everybody's going to do their money. So that's going to be a fun tournament. Let's see how this Jamity gets on during the evening and see if they get to the final table. I hope Tom and I are going to pick a selection from these and see if we can get a winner out of them. Let's just see this hand. Trip threes are miles ahead. The queens think they're winning. The jacks think they're winning. The 3 knows they're winning.
Wow.
Well, what about that?
Justice done, I'd say, TK.
I go with that. I like to see a best hand win. What an extraordinary end to that hand.
Who says that internet poker's fixed?
It's rigged, I tell you. It's rigged.
Shush.
Runner, 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 flush. Justice is done. The guy with 3s thought he had that nailed, didn't he?
More of that tonight, you can be sure. Just a bit of information about that MTT. It's $10 with 103 entrants, so 1,030 to go around. And we're going to go down now straight to that MTT and catch the fallout.
So we're down to 93 runners. We joined the table where, remarkably, 10-5 off versus 10-5 off. So it's just quite interesting to see who can take the initiative here and steal it. And not surprisingly, it was the guy with 10-5 that won it. And now we see a nice hand there, 10 jack suited. Very, very pretty hand. And I would think in the small blind he's going to have a little pop at that. And he's dominating the big blind with 10-2, but will the button steal it? No.
It was just called. Hello.
Oh, well, what about that? He's flopped the straight. And the guy with 10-2 thinks he's pulling to the straight, which of course he is, but he's thin.
Gut shot to a split is not great, is it?
Oh, he's hit
dear.
it.
Look at
Wow, what about that?
Poor guy, he's going to do his money, I think. Oh, gets away cheap.
Well, he couldn't get away any cheaper than that, to be honest with you.
No.
It is rigged.
Yeah,
I'm
it is
sure of
rigged, you're
There's no
right.
doubt about it. No doubt about it. Live poker's worse, of course.
Let's have a look at that again.
Yes, please. So he's flopped the straight, and matey boy in seat 2, whose name is Blue.
Buggered red.
I don't like to say these rude words. I'm older than you, but him anyway. He's got the bottom straight, and the small blind had flopped at the top straight.
So yeah, Bug completely dead to taking the pot on the flop. But the worst that could happen really is that he made a worse straight, and that's exactly what
That's
happened.
exactly what happened. ACHAP, I call that. Anything can happen at poker. And he thought he wanted to hit that straight, but he didn't. And when he hit it, he thought it was Christmas, and it wasn't. I have to say, it's jolly nice seeing all the cards. This would help me a great deal if I could do this.
Yeah, I know, it's miserable when you go home and you sit down and play an hour of poker and you're lacking a lot of information you need.
So now we see Duke with Ace-Jack suited against King 10, which has got a gut shot. Let's hope the King 10 doesn't take a pop at this because he's going to lose. Ace-Jack will not put this down.
Big bets. Do you think Duke was hoping Warrior had caught an ace and had to pay him, or hoping that Warrior would put him on a bluff? You know, it wasn't really a milking bet, was it, at the end?
No, I don't know enough about the player to know what their thinking was there. They may just thought a lumping bet and I'll take this down. Here we see a lovely button situation, ace-queen suited. When you raise on the button, people obviously think you're stealing. Problem is the two blinds have got nothing to defend with, but the fella here, Mocho, has got the suited cards, dominated suited cards. You might have a look at it. Oh my goodness, he's caught top pair. He probably thinks he's winning with his queen 3, but he's a mile and a half behind. He needs to bet out here, in my opinion, see where he is. He does that, now there'll be a re-raise.
You might think me vindictive, TK, but calling for when it's 6 times the big blind, the raise and the button with a suited queen, it seems to me you deserve that kind of situation.
It's a huge hand, is it not?
Suited queen?
Well, it could have been a deuce with it. It's a 3. It's a medium kicker.
We should stress here that there is irony coming off TK's voice. Of course, you won't be used to his speech patterns yet, but in case we're misleading any beginning players...
I thought queen 3 was a good hand, actually.
It's nothing like 10-3.
Yeah, well, you won't try that again. Now, Warrior has got ace-king in mid-position. I'd like to see him limp here. And indeed, that's what he's done.
Why do you say that, TK?
Because I think early in the MTTs, when the blinds are small, that is, personally, that's the right way to play ace-king. If you raise it up to 60 or 70, the chances are you're going to get 4 callers. You're not going to know where you are. He's limp. Now look what he's caught here. He's got everything. I much prefer to use a surprise factor. There is a rule online, apparently, that if you have ace-king online, you're obliged to put all your chips in. Did you not know that?
Oh dear, I haven't been following that.
Well, if you watch, that's what people do. You always know what hand they got. All in, all in, all in. And play it with a little subtlety. And you'd be surprised the benefits you get.
So when you limp there, you're trying to get the best of both worlds, of both keeping the pot cheap for yourself and possibly coming in with a bit of deception on your side.
I want to get the deception, and if I raise it up, if you raise up with ace-king when the blinds are big, chances are you're going to take the pot without seeing a flop. But you're going to see a flop early doors because they're all going to call you, particularly in low-value competitions. So I just don't quite see the point of raising up. Use a deception. They're not going to put you on ace-king for absolutely guaranteed. And if you catch the ace or the king, you're going to get handsomely paid. Raise it up. You're going to get 5 callers. You missed the flop. One of those people is going to catch plenty of that flop. Now where are you? Be sneaky. Think like a woman.
So it's interesting you say that, TK, because on Thursday, twice I saw you limp with ace queen. Yeah, that's right. You see,
Oh,
you do get taken into account with what you've done with ace queen in
You remembered.
two off the. Well, what happened was that twice you were two off the button, and you flat called with ace queen, and on both occasions, in fact, you caught two pair on the flop, and took down a reasonable pot. But I remember thinking, I would normally raise with ace queen. So it seems that you extend the same logic to ace queen.
Ace king, ace queen. Early in any competition, I'll always limp with. There are circumstances. You can never say that you'd always play it the same way, but that is my general rule, and it serves me well. It's a different hand later in the competition, though. So we continue. Ace 9 against, oh dear, we've got a flush draw here against trips. A lot of chips could go in here. Duke has got 15, 20.
I don't like that call, Tikay. He's facing 2-1 on the turn, and his hand might be dead if he makes his flush.
Yes, when the board is paired, you have to really adjust the odds, because you could be drawing dead already. It's very dangerous.
Well, we're going to sneak over now to another table, just to prove that this is a multi-table tourney, and see if we can find our chip leader. Through the matrix we go. 86 runners left.
Wow. Here we have two people both think they're winning. On that flop, the 8s and the kings both think they're way ahead. The 8 thinks it's the best flop in the world. What happened on the river there? Because the ace come, which may have saved the fellow with 8s.
I guess there wasn't any sort of... how could the ace save the guy with the 8s?
Well, because he can get away from his hand now he sees the ace.
Yeah.
He can run into those kings. He can think he's winning because the 10 was the only overcard. When the ace comes, he slows down, doesn't he? The guy with the kings did not want to see that.
I think they're all in on the turn. Hello. Well, that just might work. It's very convincing. Guy's committed the last of his chips, and 78 on tilt has only got a 10. I mean, it's tempting to fold
He has to leg it. A nice play by Stick Dundee. Is that what it says?
Looks like it, or Slick Dundee, not sure.
Slick Dundee. Stick Dundee. Now everybody here has a bag of spanners, so who's going to take this? Position suggests that the button and cut-off will both have a pop at this. Ace 10, ace 6. 7-8 on tilt does indeed have a pop.
Ooh.
The small blind defends. And 7-8 on tilt's caught a little bit of it. He's the only one that has caught any of it, to be truthful. He'll take this down. No, not too much blood spilt there. And once again we see a bag of spanners all around the table. Who's going to be the clever one that starts getting action? I like the big blind here, 7-4. Yeah, top pair.
What a player.
There you go, you see. You have to play. The thing with 7-4 is you have to believe it. The trouble is everybody's got a bit of this. The 10-5 is straighted. The 8-7's a bit out in the dark, but he's got 2 overs.
If only you knew it.
If he did but know it, yes. I'm telling you, 7-4's got this. It's a wonderful hand.
If this guy tips a horse, back it.
There you go, he's won with 7-4. The signature hand. It's called the Full Wilson. Truly, after Mr. Brian Wilson, the bracelet winner, won the 5,000 pot limit Hold'em in the World Series of Poker last year in Vegas. That's his signature hand. He played it 4 times in the final and won each time. And now, to be a true blonde knight, you're obliged to raise, re-raise or move in with 7-4. Otherwise you get drummed out.
Wow.
You're looking at me very quizzically.
And there's, I think there's now a poker skin associated with it. So if I go there, am I likely to find lots of people playing that hand?
You are, yes.
I think I might get a bit of that action.
Yes, there's 2 ways of looking at that hand. The fortunes have been won on it and bigger fortunes have been lost. Trust me.
Not a hand you want to show down, is it?
No, but the Full Wilson is unsuited. And if you can move in with that and get them to pass, you're obliged to show. It's called the old stick 'em up and move. Give it a go. So, pair of 3s is winning here, but he's got something like 7 overcards. And everybody's missed everything there. There's a pair of jacks.
Massive.
And a deuce. The guy with 3s remains in front.
Now, if you could only believe...
He's got to dodge a 6, 7, 10, king or ace, and he'll remain in front, if he did but know it.
Hello.
He's still ahead. Can he stay there, and does he know he's in front? It's hard for him to bet, to be truthful. Unless he catches his set, somebody's going to steal this of him.
I think they're all worried that a jack has been slow played.
They're absolutely sure. I would represent a jack from somewhere, that's for sure. Oh my goodness.
I reckon threes are going to take this.
The guy with 3s may now start to believe. If nobody represent that jack, it's his. Come on, somebody must steal this.
Pig will call that.
The bet is 30, is it? Into a pot of 180? He has to. He has to call. Well, there you go. A pair of 3s against 7 overcards and holds up.
It looked like Stick Dundee was gambling no one had a pocket pair, because he must have known that any pockets was going to call that.
Yes. It was a fairly weak bet, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
30 into a 180 pot. I think if I had the goods, I'd bet a little more.
So blinds 25.50 now. $11 tables left.
About 80 runners left, yes?
Something like that, yep.
They go down quite fast, the early stages of MTDs. I do feel that you can sit out early doors in most of these and see a third of the field disappear without you actually doing anything, which I think is quite cost efficient, if you wish. You know, it's very economical. Let the children squabble amongst themselves, and come back in half an hour, and you'll find you're 2/3 of the way there already. Some interesting hands here: Ace 7, Ace 8, Jack 10, and King 9. I think we might get action.
And that's the trouble with Jack 10, is that when you catch a jack, you have only got top pair with a weak kicker. So you've got to bet to find out where you are, and he has found out where he is.
What do you think the Ace 7 was calling for?
Don't know. Many mysteries in this world.
Wonderful.
Ace Queen with 2 overcards in the small blinds, counter position. And that's a very large bet, and it's a bit weird. 800 into 200, was he representing? What was he doing there, TK?
Well, you know, this is almost a reverse bluff. He's making it look like he's stealing. But you do see people put remarkable... The thing about playing online is people do overbet. I played a competition last night, and the very first hand, the blinds were 10-20, and the guy under the gun went all in for 2,000 into a pot of 30 with queens, and the guy behind him was sat with aces. Now, maybe he can never get off the hand, but you have to wonder where the subtlety in a pot of 30 and putting 2,000 in is. You know, what are you hoping to achieve? You aren't going to get called by many hands, are you?
No, although in that particular case, it's possibly true that people with jacks and tens will call him, or a certain kind of player with jacks and tens will say, oh, he must be bluffing. But no, I wouldn't advise it. Certainly a good player would only call you with aces.
Oh, we've got aces against kings.
Oh yeah, it's
the
fixed.
Classic, the classic. I had this on the weekend, and I had the kings. I caught the king, but I didn't know the guy had aces. Not for a moment, because he limped all the way. What's going to happen here? Oh my goodness.
Ah.
Well, that actually saves the guy with kings, unless he catches... Oh my goodness, he caught the flush.
But there's a full house. 4 on the turn. Yeah, I was wondering why the chips are going to the left. There it is. Dead on the turn.
Sheesh.
Shish kebab.
The ace actually saves the guy with kings, or it should. Unless he's put all his chips in first.
Flop. Hand played
I
itself.
bet the fellow with the aces had a bit of a heart attack there when that heart came. So ace 10, 10, jack and 4, 5. Taken down bloodless. They played a fair old lick, don't they? Pretty fast.
Mm-hmm. Do you call there, TK? King 8 off, minimum raise during the big blind?
No, I'm not big into defending blinds, to be truthful.
More into making them?
Not at this stage of a tournament. I really don't quite see the sense in trying to look after your big blind of 20 or 40 or whatever it is, and in the process maybe catch a bit of something and do 200 chips. It makes no sense to me. I want to play poker on my terms. I want to play with my hands when I want to. And when someone tries to steal your blinds and you start defending, you're playing on their terms. Mm-hmm. And if they want to steal a blind at this stage, let them steal it. That's my view. Because you're going to lose more in the long run. Because sometimes a blind stealer does have a hand. So time to be defending blinds is later on, not now. You can send them a message if you wish, but it's a very, to me, it's a very immature concept to be defending your blinds at great cost at this stage of a tournament. Let them take them, and we'll play our game when we're ready. We'll pounce, we'll steal, we'll re-steal, we'll bluff them. But when you defend, you're dancing to their tune. And I don't want to dance to their tune, I want to do it my way. Mm-hmm. So they're not going to make me put chips in when I don't want to. And of course, if you have got a hand, then you can play it cute, but let them take it, I say. Not many would agree with that, though.
Well, no, I do agree with you, actually. I remember when I read, you must have read Big Deal, Tony Holden book.
Yes, yes.
And like many poker players, this is the one that really got me going. And I remember him saying something along the lines that one thing that all pros agree with is that at some point in a tournament, you have to start defending your blinds. I've never liked that phrase, defending your blinds, because as poker theory tells us, it's not your blind once it's in the middle. So all you're doing is trying to win money in a pot out of position. And I've always felt slightly bad about not doing that and not being prepared to defend my blind. But at the same time, the logic tells me that as long as I can nick them at the same rate I'm losing them, then at least I'm breaking even, and then I can go from there. And I take exactly the same view as you. Until they start getting big and a real problem, why play out of position?
That's the other point about it. People forget about it. You know, I can't take advice out of books. I read it. It seems to be very generic to me. And, you know, I may not be much of a player, but I haven't learned anything out of books because you can't teach me anything. Teaching you ABC poker is no good because if everybody plays the same, where are we going to be? The thing with defending your blinds is that you leave yourself with a bad hand out of position. And the thing with stealing a blind is that you have made the initiative and you're in position. So you steal my blinds all day, I don't care. When the blinds get big, it's different. At this stage, I'm not fussed. If that's what you want to do, you take your long pots. I'll take them on my terms.
OK, let's have a look at a few emails then. We've got one here from Ironside, who we haven't heard from in an awful long time. So,
you
TK,
know Ironside?
Well, he used to be quite a regular emailer to the show. But obviously TK's arrival has prompted Ironside's return. He was there all the time.
This wouldn't be about a heads-up match, would it?
It says here, "Hi Tony, I hear you're a bit of a heads-up player. Can you let us know your tips and your record? I heard you had a great run in Glasgow recently and the score 5-0 rings a bell. P.S. See you in Blackpool at the weekend." There seems to be an awful lot of history being hinted at here. Could you divulge, TK?
Ironside is, he earned the accolade the world's worst player.
Wow.
The hard way. He's never won an MTT, an S&G, he's never won anything. And so I played him in in Glasgow, heads up. And I whopped him 5-0, to be truthful. No, not 5-0, it was, no, he whopped me 5-0.
Ah, that's a bit different.
Yes, it was, they were all very close. It was the turn of a card each time. You got extraordinarily lucky. And he was known on the forum as Ironside. And of course he gave me the rub down, as the Scots are wont to. And I woke up the next morning onto my forum, my damn place, and he changed his name to 5-0. Is that the ultimate rub down?
That's not very gracious in victory, is it?
It's not very gracious at all. 5-0 he changed his name to. And now he's calls himself Ironside, a.k.a. 5-0.
Wow.
He's quite an extraordinary man. Have you ever met him?
I think I may have played against him in Blackpool. Is that right, Ironside, if you're listening?
Yes, he's been there once or twice. Wonderful story. He was a very, very fit man as a youngster. He used to play 3 rounds of golf a day. Can you imagine that? 3 rounds. That's like 12, 15 miles. And he went in the army. Then he had 2 accidents, one in which he broke his neck and became paralysed. And he followed that up where he went to his brother's wedding, and he was obviously no mobility, and the wedding reception was down a flight of stairs, and they dropped him down the stairs and he broke his back. Now, how about that for a bad beat? And he's been in a wheelchair ever since. But he's a very, very cheerful guy, glass half full individual, very, very popular around the casinos when he comes down. He's got a bit of a thing about lap dancers. He lives... Let me tell you this is almost impossible to imagine. When he drives to Glasgow, which is south, he lives in Inverness Shire, Elgin, or some dreadful place in Scotland.
Oh, I've been to Elgin. There's a museum there with a
the right-hand side.
The right-hand side
Okay.
of Scotland.
When he drives to Glasgow, south, it takes 5 hours. Now that seems to be like he must live in Greenland or somewhere. And we went to a competition in Birmingham recently at the Broadway, and we all stayed at the Thistle Hotel around the corner. And to get from the Thistle to the Broadway, you sort of go along this little footpath, down a subway and up the other side. And there was a bunch of us who was having a good time, and he was with us, pushing away in his wheelchair. And we got to the bottom of the ramp, and we forgot him. And we went marching up the other side, and he was down the bottom going, wait for me, wait for me. Wonderful character.
I bet you wish you hadn't gone back for him now after the 5-0.
You had to, well, I would just carefully move myself away from that, and you took me back there.
We try to please the viewers.
He can have a rematch any time he wants.
Oh, there you go. The gauntlet has been thrown down Ironside. Perhaps we'll televise it. Yes, perhaps that's what we'll
You're
do.
very welcome to do it. It could never happen. It was one of those lightning can't strike twice.
Let's have another look at the emails. We've got one here from Dirty Papa, who says, Dear Dr. Tom, I just thought I'd let you know I tried out your pro tourney move that you named the Venus flytrap on a recent show with Barry the Bully. It wasn't my name, but that's the one that stuck. Haha. The move involved limping in with an ace-jack style hand, hoping someone will try to punish your weak raise by overbetting their hand, then aggressively going over the top of them, hoping they will make a pot-committed call with a weaker hand. Yes, that was indeed the move. Well, I was playing in a tourney with 49 runners, and one of the first hands I had was ace-queen off. I duly limped in. We had 5 callers, the one before last raised. 1 times the big blind, and the player afterwards called my raise. I thought, as this was early on, the dead money would be at maximum capacity, and the fact that the first hour was a rebuy, I could hope for some damn loose calls. I didn't put the raiser on a great hand, as there were 5 callers, and he only raised 1 big blind. I pushed all in, and all the callers folded, except the raiser and the caller of the raise. They turned over king-queen and ace-5, 2 lesser hands, and both were dominated. Yippee! I was poised to triple my money and become chip leader. Why do I think this is all going to end terribly? Sadly, the king-queen hit it straight and I was out. But I still think it's a pretty sexy move early on. Do you think I played it well? And is it a long-term moneymaker, or was I being too reckless? Big up. Well, there's the rebuy tournaments for you all over, isn't it? Get all your chips in the middle and expect to see worse hands get turned over. I mean, that's the way it goes with cheap rebuy tournaments.
So the hand was ace-jack and you're check-raising with it. Is that what we're saying?
That's what he did.
But this is your little Venus flytrap.
Wait a minute. Okay, let's just clarify the situation here. The initial recommendation is towards the end of a tourney, when you've got maybe 8 or 9 big blinds, and you get down something like ace-jack, and you reckon that if you push with it, because it's one of those sort of tight, aggressive situations, basically you're only going to get called by a better hand.
Correct.
Whereas if you fold it, well, can you really fold ace-jack when you've got 8 big blinds? No. So the move is, that I'm recommending, is if you have an image where if you just limp, people might think that you're a lame player and you're trying to limp in with, say, a pair of 6s or something. They will then raise you, and then that is the only chance you have of getting yourself to a showdown against an inferior hand. That's my recommendation.
Yeah, there's a variation of that Dave Colclough El Blondie, a.k.a. Monty Burns, he uses in tournaments, but he tends to use this in earlier stages, is that if he has a small pocket pair, he will limp and check raise with it.
Before the flop?
Before the flop. In other words, he represents a very, very big hand. So he's got a pair of fours, and the cut-off button, the blinds raise it up. He now goes straight over the top with his little pocket pair. You have to say it looks like a very big hand. Now, I actually tried this in a tournament, a £1,500 tournament, and I limped with the threes, and the guy on the button then raised, and it got to me, and now I've got to re-raise him with my pocket threes out of position. And I picked the chips up and I went pass. I couldn't quite bring myself to do it. You do need a nerve, I tell you. But that is the cold cloth method.
And the logic, I suppose, is that people will put down a whole range of high pockets, but they may still call with ace-king, which isn't a disaster.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, I like it.
You need to have good image to do it, but that's the cold cloth method. I don't think he calls it the Venus flytrap, though. Where does he get that name from?
Well, me and Barry were sort of talking about moves you can make that don't have names, and we put out a request to name these moves, and Flytrap was the one that came down.
That's Mr. Martin, is it?
Mr. Barry the Bully Martin, yes.
I heard him do a commentary on a tournament I was in recently.
Oh, yes. Ah, yes.
Yes, he described me as an out-and-out rock.
Well, I
gave my secret away.
I would not agree with that for one moment, so you must be doing a service in terms of advertising. Let's go to a quick reminder now of how you can get in touch with myself, Dr. Tom, and Tony TK Kendall tonight in the studio. You can text us here, text your questions in about fly traps or otherwise. Text poker and your question to 84222. Or you can email us at poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Super duper. Well, how about a bit of cash action? It's a 50-cent $1 table, or will be. And let's see. Ah, well, we've got some familiar faces here, TK. We've got Johan Hiren, Tragic Trev, my mate, down from Hampshire.
You know these guys, do you?
Tragic Trev I bumped into in a pub on Christmas Eve.
With Tragic fella?
No, quite whatever the opposite of tragic is. Comedic? I don't know.
Isn't it strange when a hand like Ace-Queen can be turned over by King-10?
Extraordinary.
Both in diamonds. And now he's got King-10. It's the other way round. Now it's Ace-Jack versus King-10. It's the only two hands here. The King-10 was going to be interested, but he's under the gun. Johan might call with his suited ace, but Pigeon Head's going to want to raise his up with his Ace-Jack suited, I'm sure of that. The hand I like here is actually the small blind. That's the hand I like to play strong. He's actually let it go. Wow, the suited ace has raised it up. He might even get this as well. Somebody needs to represent this queen. Whenever I represent the queen, I always bump into the fellow that's got it.
Or the pocket pair they won't put down.
Yeah. Well, who's brave enough here? Yep, the best hand wins.
Funny bet there on the end, because, I mean, basically, he reasonably could assume he was ahead, and yet he bluffed with the best hand.
Yeah, he only gets called if he's behind as well.
Exactly.
I don't like the bet. I'd rather see him check that, and maybe, when you do the check, before the guy behind you bets, say to yourself how much you're prepared to call here. In other words, don't be instinctive about it, and make a decision. If he bets, how much will I call? The chance are the guy's going to check anyway, so you're okay, but I certainly wouldn't be betting in that position. Well, we've got three players in this pot, 4 hearts on the board, and nobody's got a heart between them. Wow. ACHAP.
Oh, look at that. You naughty, naughty boy. He's going to take this, I think. Bill trying to work out if Pigeon Head has any hearts, because, of course, any heart here, because there's a deuce on the board. Any heart would actually has to be a 5 or above. We could actually even have a straight flush here. King-9. He has to show it, yep. Oops. And now he picks up a monster. Kings on the button. How good is that? And he may even get some defence from the small blind. I might even limp with these kings, you know. Try and be sneaky.
Go on, play it different, man. Just limp.
Yeah, now he can limp without being too suspicious, because someone's coming before him. But that's highly suspicious and not much money.
No, he's fallen between two stools
Yeah.
there, hasn't he? Oh, the queen. The ace has fallen. Well, we got it wrong, didn't we? Because if he'd raised properly, he may well have got rid of the small blind. Now he's got to be brave and let it go.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to check it down and have a look.
He's going to be sick as well. We told him to raise up, didn't I? I said he has to raise here. I mean, I can't believe he's limp with that hand. Ridiculous. Now the button, this is incredible. The button has found pocket tens and the small blind has got sevens. And fellow over here has got ace queen suited. We're going to see a big pot here. What would you do with the tens here?
Oh, well, now that the ace queen is raised, I'm in a fix. I don't like the raise. I'm hoping to see just a limp.
I'd be honest with you, I'm quite happy to let them tens go.
I'm so glad you say that, TK, because that's what I wanted to say, but I was worried I'd sound a bit needy.
I often let those. When you got that pair of eights, nines, tens, and there's been a big raise in front, be brave. There are better situations to put your money in.
You don't know where you are. That's the trouble.
If you're first to speak, go and bet out as normal. If someone's already made a big raise, unless you're absolutely sure you're ahead, there's a better situation. Let the thing go. Be a big boy. Well, the ace-queen is still betting away, and the pair of sevens are still ahead. Wow, he's got some draws now, though. He's got a flush draw and a straight draw. He's missed a lot, but do the pair of sevens know this? To be truthful, if you look at the pattern, unless you put the guy on a jack, if he's brave, he can win this with the sevens. One swinger. He's going to steal it.
Nice odds for a call.
He has to call. It's easy to say seeing the cards, but when you look at the odds and you look at that board, and he's got it through. That's the value of position, you see. I'm going to start playing this site, because on the sites I play, you can only see your own cards. And this is so much better.
Well, you will be playing TK in about an hour.
Will I get to see all the cards?
No, just your own.
Oh, right.
But you'll be fine. Just don't play heads up.
That was nonsense what he wrote.
I'm afraid I'm duty bound to read it out. You can sue him personally if you want.
Well, it wasn't nonsense, but it was true actually. But it was true nonsense.
So how could you lose
It was
5
just
games?
extraordinary.
TK?
We played Omaha high-low. Every hand I went in ahead. And he calls with nothing each time and catches. On one occasion, after the flop, he caught runner, 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 runner. It's just so lucky. I won a heads-up match last week for £2.5 grand. Got lucky, mind.
Oh, he's emailed the show. Would you Adam and Eve it?
Oh, no.
Email from Ironside. World's worst player.
Oh, he's going to sue me now, is he?
Dear TK, anytime you want to play heads up, I am up for the challenge. In fact, you are unlucky there is nowhere online that we can play. Heads up, super stud and Irish, or any of the other variations that you can come up with that I had never heard of or played before taking you on. And please refer to me as the International Irish Champion, soon to be the 2006 Blackpool Bonanza Omar Champion. Well, a very confident man there, TK.
Well, the International Irish Champion, let me take you through this. It's not quite what it sounds. You know, you ever played Irish?
Yeah, I've dabbled.
Well, they have a competition, as you can imagine, up in Aberdeen. They have massive fields for their runners, for their competitions. So they had an Irish competition.
Would you like to just tell the viewers how Irish works, in case they don't know?
It's really the same as Omaha before the flop and Hold'em after the flop.
Oh, that's an interesting take. So what does that mean?
You discard, you can play 3-card, 4-card, 5-card Irish, and you discard 1, 2 or 3 cards after the flop, and then it plays as just ordinary Hold'em.
Got horribly changed by them.
Very changed. So there's a casino in that part of the world, somewhere in the Outer Hebrides, called the International Casino. So they had the Irish Championship at the International Casino, so he calls himself the international Irish champion, which strictly speaking is correct. Now, of the other 3 runners, one had never played before, and one was a Welshman, which, you know, what more can you say?
Well, I don't know what you're saying, Tikay. We have lots of Welsh viewers and we cherish them, and we hope they'll come back after tonight's show.
Yes, them and their sheep, but you know what I'm saying.
I have no idea what you're saying. I think we should go back to the game. This is getting scandalous.
Goodness me. So.
Ooh la la, look at this.
Ace Queen, Ace King, Jacks and 5s. The 5s have very wisely got out of the way. The Ace Queen is in terrible poo.
Suited.
He doesn't know the peril is in. The chances are he's going to be the one that wins this with the worst hand.
I think he's going to want to call with 28 in the pot and have a look, though, because he has got some implied odds if they're showing that much action. Oh, he's folded it. What a rock, and gets away from
just
the
as well he folded it.
Look at the 5s. Bit sick,
oh,
I think.
5. Wow, he threw pocket 5s.
What a mug.
To be honest with you, that's not the best flop in the world for Tragic Trev, because
yeah, too strong.
One swinger just gets away from it, doesn't he?
And also, he has genuinely got to worry about King Queen. It's a possible hand.
Yep.
In fact, probably the only hand that's going to call him there is King Queen, or a suited spade.
Yeah, people play King Queen and they get paid. I dislike King Queen because it plays so badly against Ace King, Ace Queen.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can catch 2 pair with it, you're gonna, against Ace King or Ace Queen, you're going to get seriously paid.
Yeah.
But of course, you're never home till the end on that one. You have to be very careful. It's not a hand I want to get too deep with.
I've got a question about King Queen I'm going to ask you later.
I can't wait.
Mm-hmm. Tragic Trev on a roll, 5 times the big blind, and is ahead, and in fine position to represent a king, because that bet pre-flop could easily have been something like King Jack. It was that sort of size. Takes it down. What a player. A6 suited, goes for the limping option, hoping no one will raise him. King, Queen likewise, both those hands will really have to fold against action, unless you have bona fide proof that your opponent is likely to be playing with rubbish. And I think we're going to see a 5-way pot here. Yes, we are, unless there's an unlikely raise for 4-9. Nope. It's the 9 that has caught and leapt into the lead. Comprehensively into the lead as well, because no one's got really anything apart from Bill, who's got the 8 and drawing to 2 pair. No draws there. And 8 in the pots. I think Bill's got to give full respect there. Pigeon Head could well have already made 2 pair. He's in the blinds there. He's bet into a field of 4 other players. I mean, you've got to give him credit for a decent hand. He's not going to bet a 5 there and put money in the pot when he's going to be raised off it by someone holding a pair of 10s or something. So they all correctly work out. He must have a hand. It wasn't that strong, but it was, in fairness, the best there.
Nice play.
Yeah.
Now we see Snuggy Bug going to come into action. I don't think he'll get too much action. He might get a call from Mad Shaz.
Here's a hypothesis, Tikay. If you're looking at a game, a cash game, and you see that the standard raise is 3 times the big blind, I tend to expect that game to be tougher than if it's 4 times the big blind.
Yes, I agree. That I think that indicates better players to begin with.
I agree, yeah.
And I don't really want to play down the streets if I can help it, because I don't feel confident in doing so. But as you get into better games, you get people that are happy to go down the streets.
Mm-hmm.
They know where they are in a hand. And these are the guys that tend to raise less and say, give me action. They want action.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more in the get out the way, let me take it without seeing a flop, because I'm safer that way. You can't outplay me if we don't see a flop. The guys that raise less, I was sat with an interesting guy the weekend who loves to play flops, Roland de Wolf. And he's very, very comfortable. He sat next to me at the Sportsman. He'd just come back from Vegas with $1 million in his pocket. We saw him in Paris last year, pick up $2/3 million. This guy wants to play flops. He wants to go down the streets. He wants to take you on. Frightened the life out of me.
He was Poker Night Live commentator more than a year ago, one of our earliest guests.
Wow, I didn't know that. He a very good friend of mine and maybe yours, Jen Mason, who at one stage was dealing at Gutshot, and now she's a blonde updater and blonde content provider.
You're talking about www.blonde.com, not her hair.
yes, blonde.com. Now she's brunette. But she's become a very accomplished player, and she actually won the Unusual Suspects and played at Deauville and Monte Carlo. We're all very proud of her. But Roland used to go to her home game, and I suspect if she was still holding it at a lovely flat in Highgate, he would still go to it. He likes little games, $20 games, $40 games. Lovely, lovely guy. I didn't know he'd commentated on here, though. I interviewed him on Sunday at some length, and fascinating guy. I like him a lot. Won a few, wasn't he?
Yeah, incredible. I mean, he won the seat in the Bellagio from winning
Paris,
the Paris event, which is coming around again now. And then was it third place? Barry said he took.
He took third place, just around $1 million. I think he'd sold a good lump of himself, but you know he still had a good lump left, and he's got himself a nice sponsorship deal now, which is nice to hear.
And let's face it, that Bellagio event must be basically the toughest field you can face in poker.
600 runners, $25,000 a pop, 50,000 chips starting 6 days. Truly, I think that's more a test than a World Series.
Yeah.
I think that the World Series, you're going to have to be very lucky for a long time. I think the one at Bellagio is the championship. But it was a strange final table. You know, one expected to see more names there. We had a lot of guys running well until quite late, but the wheels came off. But Roland was there. Mender Master was there. The other guys were quite surprising, to be honest with you. Good old Roland.
Lovely, Julia. Let's have a look at some, or at least one email before we go to a break. One here from Hyde, H-E-I-D. Ah, okay, lovely. I can see this is the way it's going to go tonight. Hyde says, love the show. Tony the tie, however, has to go. How very rude. I'd like to ask you a serious question about a hand I saw played last night. Okay, it's a serious question, TK, so I hope you're going to give it the respect that is due. The Case Queen, and for those of you who don't know the terminology, the Case Queen is the fourth and final queen in the deck. What is the realistic chance of getting your case card when the other three are in play and not even folded? Seat 2, TK1, any friend of yours? We'll assume so, has 2 queens. Seat 4, Miss Hooley, has Jack Queen. Board cards, Queen 3-3-6-4. Okay, so we've arrived at the turn.
Whoa.
Seat 2, TK1, who's moaning gently to my left here, has a pair of queens. TK1 has full house, queens full of threes. TK1 wins 9,566 with full house, queens full of threes. You have to admit it, you are jammy. TK is, however, right about the full Wilson. It's a monster hand. Nice show, guys. All true?
Well, this is the third. I'm afraid the blondes are taking over here. This is the third email from a blondite this evening. Hyde is a young lady from London. To begin with, this hand last night, it would appear to me that I went in ahead with queens against queen jack, and I came out ahead. I think that's fairly reasonable. And it was a small sit and go. We had great fun every night. We play a $5 sit and go between friends, and bragging rights and everything. There's so many fish in this game. IFM, Robert, these guys can't play. Colchester Kev is absolutely horrendous. And I won this thing. I walked it. And of course, when you win things, they tell you you're lucky, don't they?
People get jealous, you know.
Well, we had a tournament the night before with 700 runners, our own tournament, our blonde tournament, and I won that. No, there wasn't 700. There was 23, but I still won it.
Well, you would have won it if it had been 700. So what's the difference? It's just quicker, you know.
Yeah.
And
I went in ahead. And what's wrong with that tie?
Okay. Well, we're going to have to go to a break now, TK. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. I'm sure we're going to have more emails from your friends. They obviously love you a great deal. Don't go away, because we've got 3 more hours of Poker Night Live, and we've got a bit of poker news to go to. After the break, TK will be playing Beat the Presenter. See you soon. Welcome back to Poker Night Live. Thanks for sticking around tonight. It's myself, Dr. Tom, and Tony TK Kendall, who in just a few moments is going to sit down and play in the Beat the Presenter slot, so watch out for that. I think under the name Matt Broughton. So watch out for him there. Before he does that, though, let's have a look at an email here. One for you here, TK. I think it's from Indestructible, friend of yours.
Yes, another Blondite. They're everywhere tonight.
He says, hi everyone, can you give me advice on how to play Big Slick pre-flop if I'm first or early to act? I often make a large raise which may have no callers, or if raises follow, I often end up in an all-in situation pre-flop. I may make a small profit this way by taking the blinds if everyone folds, or end up doubling up or going busting out. Any tips that you can give on the way to play this would be appreciated. Ace-King in early position. Mr. TK, over to you.
It really depends what stage of the competition. I think we mentioned earlier that what I like to do with Ace-King early doors is limp and trap. If the blinds are 10, 20, 25, 50 and you raise it to 175, you're going to get 4 or 5 callers. You miss the flop, you don't know where you are. Whereas if you limp with it, you miss. It's just cost you a blind. If you catch, you're going to have the surprise factor. Nobody puts you on Ace-King if you limp. Later in the competition, different calibration. When the blinds get big, it's a bullying hand, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. You don't want to see flops with it because you're not winning. You are gambling. There's no doubt about it. You are gambling. And so what you try to do late in the competition, what I try to do, is bully with his hand, re-raise, get somebody off their hand. But never be frightened to put it down, because at the end of the day, if you've got less chips than the other guy, your competition is on the line and you've got to catch your card. Unless you run into Ace-Queen or Ace-Jack, they can still catch their Queen or Jack, but you are gambling big time. So early doors I try and limp with it, trap people. Late on, we're trying to get people off hands and not see flops.
And cash games? Ace-King with cash game?
Different entirely. It depends on the level of the cash game, but I'm going to raise it up in a cash game quite strong. Mm-hmm. And I want to isolate somebody and then see if I can outplay them, which is a neat trick for me.
Because, of course, in a cash game, because you've got more chips, there's more room to outplay them on the flop and the turn and so on.
Yeah, and sad to say, you're going to lose with it a few occasions, and if you do, well, you can pull up some more, but in a tournament, you miss with it, you're going home.
There you go, Indestructible. I hope that helps and makes you even more so. That's it on the email front for the moment. Just a quick reminder of the contact details. You can text us. You can text us here in the studio, myself and TK. Text poker and your question to 84222. Or email us at poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. It is 100% live on Poker Night Live. The time is 4 minutes past 11. We're here till 2 o'clock in the morning. Perhaps you have a dilemma right now in front of you if you're playing internet poker and you need to know the answer. Of course, by the time you get it through, it will be too late, but you'll know for next time. There is some consolation. Well, let's get ourselves now down to a rather special multi-table tourney. I put that in inverted commas because in fact there's only one table, but it is played with 12-minute blinds, so it follows the same blind structure as would a multi-table tourney, which is the first, as far as I know, on Poker Night Live, so we'll be very interested to see how that plays out relative to a regular one. So take us down there, please, Eugene. And we've just lost the first player, and we're at the second level here. So 1,500 chips is what they started with.
Well, 2 players have doubled up from what I can see. So who else has sustained severe damage? Is it seat 1?
Oh, let me just check my parameters.
We've got 2 guys, a guy with 2,918 and a guy with 2,710. So we've had 2 double ups. 1 casualty, 1 man overboard and 1 man in intensive care. But with 12-minute blinds and 25.50, if he doesn't panic, he's okay.
Yeah, he's got plenty of blinds. TK, have you chosen your field of combat?
No.
Oh. Would you care to?
There we go.
I think you've missed it, Albin. They're all very keen to play against you. That one's going to get filled up. TK's trying to sit down on... are you in? No. Choose another one.
Oh no? That's too much.
Well, TK will announce...
they're all running away from me, you see.
No, they're desperate to play against you.
No, they're not. They're not.
Oh, back down here we've got top 2 for Thunder Fox.
Reserved. There's Army reserved.
And he's in all sorts of trouble. Well, look at that. Queen of Spades takes it in the end. We will sort out our... Oh, look, he's having so much fun with it, he's fibrillating. Are you in, TK?
I'm in. I'm sat next to Aunt Sally, would you believe? Between Aunt Sally and Tragic Trev.
Don't try it with Aunt Sally. She's a bloke. If you need to
Wow. Well, I'm in seat 4. I've got Willie Wall, Ipswich 5, Aunt Sally, Tragic Trev, Matt Ace King Queen Jack 10, Name Exists, and Snuggy Bug.
All the regulars.
Do you know these guys?
Yeah, they're all sharks. Watch out. Some of them have even been known to bluff.
And the structure in this is what?
What are you on? Let's see. Table brown. I think you're probably going to suffer the blind levels going up every 10 hands. So pretty fast. Very
They're talking
fast,
to
in
me.
fact.
Can I reply?
They're trying to put you off.
One of the gentlemen that said good luck is Balrog UK. We're going to talk later on about the guys on the forum who wish me good luck, and he was one of them.
Yeah, he doesn't mean it. He actually wants you to lose.
Excellent, excellent.
He wants to win himself.
And there's a fellow on here called Ironside who says he is a fish. Talking about me, I suppose.
Well, let's hope you finish heads up.
Well, there's no doubt about that. We're in good shape so far. We're chip leader.
Well, down here on this 12-minute level game, we've already lost 2 players, so it's playing at the moment pretty much like a standard sit and go. But I've got a feeling that TK's sit and go will catch up with this one fairly quickly. The nature of the blind increases. And we're seeing some big old hands here. Oh, look at that. Well, jacks are still ahead, but XXX with 2 overcards and a gut shot and the flush draw, I'm sure is not putting this down. And it's always better to bet a hand like that than call it. He's led out for an attempt at a very cheap bluff. He's not caught, and now what does he do on the turn? He's still got oodles of outs. And the fact that red hot pawn has not raised the flop suggests that he's not all that strong, because if he were, he'd want to defend against the draws there, the 10 and the queen and the flush draw, and XXX has played this with great abandon. And can red hot work this out, that this is a semi-bluff? And he's worked out very nicely and got unfortunate on the river. I think red hot made a fine call there. He can't put on XXX with such a big hand, such a big draw as he had, but he worked out that XXX was semi-bluffing, not playing a made hand. Now look, he's got aces as his reward for that sterling call. Not in the mood to get fancy with them now that he's got that depleted stack, and he's bet big enough to push out the queen jack and really realistically the king 10 too. King 10 off, a pretty terrible hand, and plays exceptionally bad against a raise. Oh, he's called. And again, as I said earlier this evening, when you call with hands like that, you really do deserve to catch something that's pretty much forcing you to play, but which deserves to lose, and that is a situation there. And his king spade draw is no good. And red hot is pretty much back up to where he was, so instant healing. Sanity is restored. Seven, 10 off. Decides not to have a pop. And a6, well, you've got to play it. It's not a bundle of laughs playing that. But against a random hand, it's almost certainly ahead. And that's what Benzie has, until his actions show otherwise. Jack 5 off, also not much fun to defend with. I think I'd be inclined to let it go, unless I felt that my opponent was really very easily controlled on the flop and the turn. No harm done to either player. So 6 players, all sorts of hands potentially playable. Blinds coming around fairly fast. Queen 10 suited. Everything here depends on your table image. If you've got a loose table image, it really doesn't merit playing, because you quite like to get raised off it pre-flop. But if you've got a tight table image, then it's a deceptive play to play it. And he likes that flop. Slick Will, that is. XX picks up the gut shot there. No good, no flush. 10 takes it. Just a limp there with the ace-jack offsuit. There's only about 1 in 10 chance that someone's got a better ace out there. I think in a 6-handed game that's good enough for a raise from me, much though I dislike the hand. And he's in danger of being pushed onto the back foot here, and rather than do that by just calling, he decides to get out of it. And look at that ace-jack. Well ahead there against the 2 ace-4s who split it up. King 10 limps in, and he's going to face at least 2 players. Slick Will may decide there that this is worth a raise. He does. He knows correctly there that XXX is not going to limp with a decent hand, apart from maybe aces or kings. And Slick Will, I think, might well have done well to raise bigger in that situation. When you're up against that sort of hand that looks like it's 2 sort of overcards, something like King 10, the trouble with 6s is that the flop is almost always going to bring a 10, Jack, Queen, King or Ace, and you don't know what you're up against. So I think you're right to either follow the implied odds route and just get in cheap by calling or checking if you're in the big blind, or raise it up sufficiently big that you can take the pot there and then. Trouble is, of course, you often still get called. So the moral of the story is that if you're going to play a small pair aggressively in position, out of position rather, you have really got to be prepared to carry on betting when the flop comes down. 7's about to be pushed off. Oh, I said that too early. He's a non-believer, our Slick Will. And yet, if you're a non-believer, you've got to raise there, because your hand isn't going to change. If it's ahead, you push the opponent off his draw 2 overcards, and if it's behind, you let go of it. But I don't understand the call on the flop, except that he's created a big old pot, which he is winning, which he's not going to fold to now. I don't think XXX can bet here. He's put in a forlorn effort to push his opponent off I don't know what, because he's only going to fold a busted draw, and a busted draw is beaten by an ace anyway. Well, I'm amazed by that. I think that's unbelievably bad play from Slick, and I don't understand what his logic was. He looked like he was making the very brave play of just letting his opponent bet at him with overcards. But he let it go. I'm 99% sure there was nothing on that board for XXX. If there was a pair for him, let me know. I didn't see it. Up and down now for him. Caught the 7 instead. That makes a straight for Barton Keys, who I think can afford to put in a value bet here. And he does. The mini one. What does he do if he gets raised, I wonder? We don't find out. Now that's re-raised there. Is strong enough to push ace-10 out. Putting 200 in is different when it's the raise of 100 from if it's a straightforward raise, because Sidonia is expecting to get a call when he puts in 200 against 100, and so XXX can say, well, this guy doesn't mind a caller, so he's probably got ace-10 beat. However, XXX has called, and they take a flop and they've all missed. And he's going to push it through on that nondescript sort of flop. Having raised pre-flop, I think he's perfectly justified in putting in a continuation bet there and hoping that no one is trapping with the queen. If they did have a queen, there's every chance they would trap, because someone who's bet strong before the flop is likely to bet the flop if it looks fairly innocuous. So they would trap with a queen, but then again, how likely is it that two players have between them got a queen? Probably less likely than that they have. So on the balance of probability, Cydonia can stick in a bet. Slip wheel now all in with the sevens that he lost so much on before, and a good chance here he will take this down. I think it all depends on Cydonia, who might decide to look him up, but Cydonia isn't exactly chipped up himself. Terrible sort of hand. He can call here because he knows that slip wheel under the gun has to move pretty much now or defend his big blind next go for all his chips, and Jack 8 being pretty much an average hand, and there being dead money in the pot, namely his own. He can call, but a fold is fine as well. Is he going to pay him back? No, Cydonia lets it go. Blind's now 50-100 and a limp from ace-6, not to be recommended. He has, however, got himself heads up through no action of his own and can now, in most cases, take it down. Wow, red hot getting nice odds to draw to an up and down there. I wonder if he spotted it. 2-5, excellent deceptive hand. I'm certainly up for a call there. I'm not getting odds to hit it on the next card, but there's no certainty that my opponent will bet the turn. I might see the river card for free. I'd have called there with the up and down. Why get fancy? Pot size bet for me. Take it down there and then 200 also fine. Trouble with that sort of bet is when you get raised, you just don't know whether your opponent's got a better hand and was trapping, or whether they've seen your bet as likely to be a steal based on position and are just putting in a re-steal. You just don't know, and that is a danger, but I do think you have to bet it. Kings now. Slow play or raise? Slow play. Fair enough. Ooh. Barton coming in for the minimum. Slightly strange sort of bet. And I think Benzie would do well to spring the trap right now. There's 500 in the middle. He's only got another 1,400, well, rather 1,800. And why not take it there and then? There's, of course, always a chance you get called by a worse hand, and if you can get all your chips in with high pockets to your opponent, you're playing good poker, and I think Benzie made the right move there. He takes out his opponent. Barton keys. Rather impaired himself on his own sword there by putting in the small raise, allowing his opponent to come over the top of him, and then deciding not to believe it. So a strange hand to trap with there in the way that he did. Fine with aces, or kings, put in that little bet, let your opponent make a big move, and then catch them at it. But at tens, I mean, even if he's making a move, he's going to have overcards. So not wise there for Barton to engineer that all-in coup. So, fives now versus sixes, and blood all over the bays here. No improvement for the fives. Down to 4. At this rate, this tournament's going to be over quicker than TK's super fast blind structure one.
I'm chip leader, by the way.
Are you?
Yeah.
What numerical base are you working on?
Well, yes. I'm midfield.
Oh, big fold there. Four-handed ace-10, you let it go without even thinking. The prize structure for this is a standard sit-and-go prize structure. That's to say 50, 30, 20% of the prize money, and that equates to $100 for the winner, 60 for second and 40 for third. So we are at the bubble situation. Aggression from Benzie. Unfortunately, he's running to an ace, but does ace-5 want to defend? TK and I were talking about this earlier. He's decided that he can't, in good conscience, put down an ace. But But unfortunately, just by calling, he's let his opponent catch a flop. And Sidonia lets it go. 150 in the pot, XXX with 2,000. I think it's got to be a standard raise here for my money, 300, 400 if you like. And a punishing raise here, 500. Ah, he's gone for the TK deception. With 1,200 chips, little to be said for that. If you're short stacked, deception loses value. You're happier to take what is in the pot already, and he's let it go. Fair enough. But I like a raise there with Ace King, and in fact, of all the hands that one might significantly overbet the pot pre-flop to something like maybe 7 or 8 times the big blind, or even 7 or 8 times the pot. That's the one I'm most inclined to do it with in this stage of a tourney. Well, look at that. Red Hot catches middle pair and the flush draw. And the 4 out a straight draw, and Benzie completely out in the cold and knows it. Three kings. Still three kings. Three kings chasing that flop. Surprise, surprise, none of them have caught. And counter position there, pays, first to bet, takes it. Benzie takes it down with his gut shot. And Benzie has really built up quite an impressive chip stack now and shows no signs of stopping.
Do you know this gentleman called Ipswich?
Nope.
Oh, well, it's his birthday.
Is it?
Yes.
Happy birthday.
In half an hour.
How old is he? 15.
72.
Yeah. Wow, trip 2. Strong enough to slow play, but no need. And now, again, he should definitely spring the trap here, because there is a possibility his opponent's drawing to a straight or a flush, and you mustn't give free cards there. All redundant now. XXX has made the full house. Now he can slow play if he wants, but again, Red Hot takes matters into his own hands and misreads that situation, unfortunately, because his opponent was not putting that one down. So we've had an extended bubble situation here with this 12-minute blind levels compared to the usual doubling every 10 hands. How are your blinds doing, TK?
They're massive already.
Only relative to your stack.
Yes. I'm having some difficulty here.
Aye, aye. Golden boys. And the blinds have just gone up. Lovely jubbly. XXX. Wow, interesting. That's all very well tempting people, but he's asking for a three-way pot there. He's almost certainly going to get it, realistically. Ah, Sidonia lets it go. He smells a rat. Red Hot comes in, obviously, and has had his fingers burnt playing this guy with bluffs, and I think he's probably going to let it go. Yes, he does. Well aware that all that small betting could well mean a monster. He's got 10 times the big blind, he's got pocket tens, and he's going to want to play these for all his money. Benzie may well nick here. Yes, he does. And Red Hot defends bravely. And he couldn't defend there, because there's a very good chance that Benzie is betting with something like an overcard and an undercard, something like ace-8, ace-deuce suited, or indeed a pair of twos. A quick reminder then of the contact details. It's not every night of the week we have TK on, so text your questions or your comments or just plain insults about his ties to poker or with poker and your question or insult to 84222.
Both my friends have already written in.
Well, then text them again. We get paid £1 for each 4. And of course, you can also email us at poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Benzie on the mend after that coup versus Red Hot. And Sidonia is wilting and will be pleased to get a walk there. Very pleased. Nothing like a walk when you're short stacked on the big blind. He also will be looking to play this for all his chips now. I don't think anyone's going to nick there, but you never know. Some people are just, they have a criminal mentality. And Ace looking very good here. And he's decided to have a look at the flop rather than risk all his chips pre-flop. And, well, what that means is he doesn't get paid the max, where he would probably almost certainly have been ahead on the river, but then it did mean he could have got away from it cheaply in a three-way pot if he hadn't connected, as indeed he would want to. Red Hot giving Triple X a chance to hang himself. I'm sure he's going to check this again and let XXX make the bet on the turn. Well, he's gone the other way. He's bet, hoping that it will be read by a bluff on the back of XXX just checking the flop, and that XXX will call him with some sort of medium hand. And that's the way you should play that situation. If you think your opponent has nothing, then you must let him bluff, because he's not going to call you. But if you think he has something, then represent the bluff yourself and let him call you down. Remember that the flop is the point where people gather information, and more often than not the turn is the point where they act on it. Wow, look at this. XXX here, almost certainly going to double up Red Hot unless he can catch a gut shot or a miracle ace. It's all going to go in. Of course, there it is, and a king now for a split. It's not there, and that's very, very unfortunate for Red Hot. Brutalised there on the turn. Yuck. Yeah. It wasn't dead. Had the king for a split, but that was about it. Oh, and of course a 10 for quads. Okay, well, they're in the money. They're in the money. Oh, I beg their pardon, they're not. I thought Red Hot was all out, but he will be very soon. He's got to defend this. And if these boys, I was going to say, are canny, they'll all do a bit of collusion and just call the big blind, and I think probably that would have been the wisest move, but of course there's no guarantee if you do enter into that kind of implicit collusion, which is perfectly acceptable, I might add, at this stage. No guarantee that someone won't spoil it with a raise. So Benzie decided to take it by the scruff of the neck, to no avail, because Red Hot is still in there.
I'm being asked about your sunglasses.
Oh yeah? What are they saying?
Well, they're saying, where are they? Have you got them with you? Apparently there's some sort of thing with your sunglasses.
Oh.
Apparently it makes you look sexy and cool.
Sexier and cooler?
No, that's what they said.
Well, I can't say. I don't look good in sunglasses, actually, because my ears are different heights, so they always look
I've
skew
never
with.
seen you wearing them. I've seen you with them on your head in that sort of cool way that one does.
Well, I don't perch them on my head to look cool. It's just that. It's
You do.
Well, thank you.
You do. I quite like.
Fancy me.
Yes.
Well, there's nothing like live TV to talk about these things.
I tried it, but they kept falling off. But you did look cool in them.
Good.
Anyway, well, I was asked to ask you by this young.
Well, how do they know
young
about my
lady.
sunglasses?
I have no idea. Apparently, you're famous.
Oh.
You've been on
Well,
TV.
I have them just in case I feel the need, you know, to put the visor down. I also sometimes think I play better in sunglasses, TK. I just feel sometimes
I play better when I got my boxers on.
Your box is on?
Yes, for some reason.
Glad to hear it.
As opposed to Y-fronts. It makes a difference.
So if I see you playing badly, I should wonder about whether...
It's just the way it works out.
Well, we're going to see your efforts after the break.
Okay, good. I'll keep you in suspense till then, but I'm chip lead at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Tikay is such a confident sit-and-go player. He can play a sit-and-go and also commentate on what he's seen in front of him, which is an extraordinary skill. Didn't expect to see Red Hot go, but he has. Blind 75, 150. And 6-4 in the unusual position here of dominating. He thinks he's bluffing. And he takes down a pot that he probably would have split if they'd taken it to the river. So everyone's got their 40 bucks here, playing now for the 60 in second or the 100 first. And Cydonia now is going to have to make a stand because these boys are not going to play against each other until he's either doubled up or got knocked out. No point, too much equity in letting him get knocked out. So where does Cydonia make a stand? Well, I think an ace-5 is as good as any. Ah, well now, does he take a flop here or does he create a bit of dead money, TK, by raising pre-flop? I mean, of course he doesn't know that the small blind's got jacks, but if they just call... And does he call here?
Yeah, that's the last three in an MTT.
Well, it's officially a sit-and-go, but it's got a 12-minute blind structure. There was only 8 starters.
Wow.
A bit behind.
He's hit that hard. I think the ace-5 is drawing dead, isn't it?
7-8?
Oh, no, you could hit a straight for a 7, I think.
Mm-hmm. Oh dear. I think XXX might be doing himself a bit of damage here.
Well, for sure, the top set is not passing. I don't think it matters what comes. He wouldn't want to see a 10. He wouldn't want to see a scare card, but he won't pass.
Now XXX here knows Benzie isn't bluffing because Cydonia is already all in. So Benzie's only playing for the side pot there and that's not rich enough to justify it. Ace no good. Ace, it's insulting, isn't it, to get an ace on the river there?
Yes.
It's just insulting. I'd cancel your subscription. Down to 2. Down to 2. Playing for that 100 first prize. And an interesting sort of board there. 2 pair on the board. Things you ask yourself, has someone got a full house? Have they got an ace? That's the key card because it gives you the best 2 pair kicker combination. Cheeky little bet there from Benzie. Looking like he was hoping to provoke a bit of action. XXX not biting. And XXX, I think I'll have to call there because he's getting fine odds, 3-1 with suited cards, one of which is a reasonable rank. But he's been pushed onto the back foot. Benzie sees the initiative and rather than fold, XXX has decided to play it aggressively. And those really are the only options there. You raise, find out if your opponent's bluffing and push him off it. Oh, Benzie's called. Now that is an extraordinary call. Is he cooking something up here? Is he calling knowing that he's probably behind but looking for a chance to push his opponent off it if he smells weakness? And this is comic, the 2 Queen 7s here fighting out and they've reached the river. And that is great play from Benzie. And it just goes to show you that poker is not about the cards you get dealt. It's about making the best of the situation you have. And he's got a fairly impressive lead now. Battle of the suited cards. And XXX ahead in all sorts of ways. He's got Benzie dominated, he's got the flush draw. He's all-round top guy in this pot. And the Benzie bet was just a bit too small. Look at that, he's called his jack. He's got 2 outs there. One of his jack heart, and he catches it, and good luck to him. Lines of 100, 200. XXX still got some play here. He's got 12 big blinds, which means that he can steal and get away from it. That's about the extent of the play he's got, not much more than that. Benzie moving with the Doyle Brunson. It looks like he can smell the winning position here. And he's looking just to grind XXX down and hope that when XXX makes a stand, Benzie has got a hand. With small XX, you're inviting him to come in position. Oh, danger. I think XXX might go bust here. Yeah. And whatever happens, there's going to be action. I think even a heart or an ace won't stop the action now. XXX going to come over the top. Yeah, that's fairly certain. Middle pair heads up, it's a reasonably big hand. And a king, relatively unlikely. So Benzie takes it down. Let's have a look at a couple of emails then, TK, before we take a break and have a look at your glorious performance. We've got one here from, who have we got one from? Robert H.M., friend of yours, TK?
Actually, it's a pseudonym for a sheep. He's best dressed man in Hampshire and well known for his sartorial elegance. You know these jumpers you used to get in Marks and Spencer's and C&A and Littlewoods?
Yeah, yeah.
He used to model them.
Really?
Yes, that's true. It's true.
Extraordinary.
You know, has these Pringle things?
Yeah, yeah.
And wears them like he's proud of them. The most extraordinary dressed man you've ever saw.
All human life is here on Poker Night Live. He says, Dr. Tom, I think you've struck gold getting Mr. Kendall on the programme. I remember him when he was famous. Please don't ask him about the Flying Scotsman.
Well, no, funny you should say that. How long have we got before the show ends?
We've got 12 minutes before the break. But
no,
well,
I need longer.
Well, it can be a running theme. You're coming back later in the month.
Yeah, but it's takes a while to talk about the Flying Scotsman. It's a train, you know.
Well, let me carry on with the email, and then
Sorry?
you can choose what you wish to reply to Mr. HM about. He says, please don't ask him about the Flying Scotsman, but instead ask him for his interesting views on deals on a final table. Should they be allowed? And if so, should the details be given out to those who were not part of the carve up? In addition, I am most worried about a man of his age dyeing his hair blonde. I can understand a natural grey, but blonde? You've got a myriad of threads to take up there, TK.
Where do you want me to begin?
Well, how about this deals question?
The deals is a hot issue at the moment. You may not be aware, but there have been 2 festival events at Blackpool this week. And they're 2-day events, and the first of these on Monday, the final was Tuesday. 18 people returned, 14 got paid. When they got to the final, they didn't play a hand, they done a 9-way chop. And, you know, a lot of people threw their hands up in the air and said, this is disgraceful, you know, you can't do 9-way chops, you should be ashamed of yourself. Go and stand in a corner like naughty children. And, you know, maybe you could say it is right, people shouldn't deal, but there are lots of ways of looking at this. One of them is that these guys were playing the first event of a festival by taking around about 4 or 5 grand each. They were locking up enough money to pay for the whole week with a bit left over. To many people, that's, you know, they couldn't play the rest of the festival unless they get that money. So I do defend their right. It's also worth pointing out I believe there were 1 million chips in play. 9 players, so the average is, what, 110,000? Blinds for 5,000, 10,000. Not a tremendous amount of play. I think if somebody was to say, I'll roll the blinds back, I'd say, let's play it. But at 5-10, if I could pick up a guaranteed 5 grand, I think a lot of people would take that up. I don't see a problem with that. If somebody doesn't like it, fine, they don't do it. They refuse to deal. As long as they don't start shouting and screaming, which some people do, to be fair, when deals are discussed. For some reason, you know, grown-ups become children and they start shouting and screaming. But as long as there's no undue pressure, if they want to deal, let them deal. If they don't want to deal, don't deal. I only want one guy to say no. There was an interesting sequel to that, because I got a call this evening from Lord Wernick, Mickey Wernick, the European rankings leader, a guy that's won a great deal of money. And to be honest with you, if you're going to take tips or advice from anybody, Mickey's as good as any. You know, he's been there, seen it and done it. And he rang me tonight to say that in the 300 event, the £300, the top 5 agreed to take £5,000 each and play for the balance being £10,400.
So a winner.
Correct. So the last 5 all took the £5,000, they played it out, they played it properly because there's still 10,000 to play for, and Mickey actually took the victory. So he ended up taking £15,400. The advertised structure said that he would get £14,500 if he won it with no deal. If Mickey Wernick thinks doing a deal or rearranging a structure is advantageous, I think many people should think again about their view on it. I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong, but you know, people get very sanctimonious about the fact thou shalt not deal.
And just out of interest, the hoo-ha, I mean, you hear about these, people like to talk about these big deals where, I've heard of a case, I think in Brighton, where something like 12 or 13 people
I think it was 18.
Was it?
18-way shop, yes. That is a bit silly.
And how, I mean, these guys should work for the United Nations, because if you can get 18 people, poker players, to agree to a deal, then it should be easy to get, you know, a few hundred countries to agree on world policy.
Well, the guy that agreed it and suggested it at Brighton had a gun. He says, do you want to agree a deal? And they said, well, we okay then, fair enough.
Even so, I'm surprised, I must say.
And he had Debbie Rogers by his side.
Oh, okay, fair enough. You've just got a backup.
Good friend of mine, I have to say, but you know, when she says do something, you do it.
But the amount of, for want of better words, ire or umbrage, both good words, which these sort of big deals produce. I mean, is it simply that people feel it's bad for the game, or it's a bit weedy, or what? I mean, if you're not at the final table, why should you have any say in what goes on at the final table?
I really find it difficult to understand. We have a very peaceful, friendly, civil, polite forum. Very unusual in poker, and we want to keep it that way. Some of them are full of lager louts and whatever. You know, it's a place where we can debate. But as soon as we get to talking about deals, it all goes off. And, you know, some of them become very juvenile and start calling each other names. That's no way to debate, is it? You can have a 100% difference of opinion on any subject. You should be able to deal, you should be able to refuse a deal, and debate it like grown-up people. But as soon as we get talking about deals, they all get excited. And I've been at many, many tables, I'm sure you have, where normally placid people of good, flat demeanour, when the deal gets mentioned, they start shouting and screaming and banging the table, and it's something that's completely beyond me. And of course, when a guy starts shouting and screaming that he wants a deal or doesn't want a deal, you know, the contrarian in us says, no, I'm not going to do what you say. Whatever you say, I'm going to do the opposite. Damn you. And I won't yield to your pressure. The thing I find about people in poker is their understanding of negotiation skills is so bad. If you want me to do a deal that I don't want to do, there's a way of getting me to do it. You know, the first thing, you don't punch me on the nose. You come up to me, you face the same way as me, put your arm around me, and turn me round. That's how it's done in life, isn't it? Instead of that, they start effing and blinding and screaming. And you know, this applies at the lower level, the £20 level. It applies at the main event festival level. A very strange thing, and it's like people tilting. Why do they tilt? You know, there's players on our forum who are perfectly civil, and suddenly, when they get into a situation on a table and they get a beat, they start typing abuse in the text box. What's that about? How does that make it better? Have you heard of the Ladbrokes River, the Prima River, the Crypto River? The whatever it is river, you know, it's this card that the man that runs a card room suddenly throws at them to bust them. Like on the logic that the card room's going to make a bit more money by doing that, you know. It's just a bizarre thing.
Civil behaviour. If you're a beginning poker player, then of all the things that's most impressive, forget about big steals from the small blind, the single most impressive thing is being civil in a card room or on the internet. And if you can keep that, you'll be much liked by all other poker players. So make it your endeavour.
Won't win any money, but...
No, that's right. But people will like it. Let's take ourselves now down to a bit of cash game action before we wrap up with tonight's, or rather the second segment. When we come back after the break, we'll be looking at TK's sit and go. But let's have a bit of cash game action first. It's a 25-cent, 50-cent game. Whoa. House of aces. Aces full of sevens. Not much to worry about there. The second nuts are Mr. Yellowman. And, well, Shaky the Fish has got to say to himself, with that sort of board, can my opponent really have anything apart from a big hand or an outright bluff? And is anyone prepared to bluff when there's a pair and a straight and a flush there? And Shaky the Fish decides the answer is probably not. Something tickled your fancy, TK?
I'm just reading some of these very pleasant emails that are coming in, which I'm sure you'll skip over.
Oh, the one that says, can I just say a big welcome to TK? It's good to hear that Poker Night Live is following B&Q's lead by giving jobs to the elderly. Well, I certainly wouldn't have read that out if I'd read it in advance. That's just abusive.
Lazzaroni used to be a jockey, you know.
Oh, really?
You'd know that if you saw him.
Jockey of horses?
Yes, and he's a Scot as well.
Mm-hmm. How's that relevant?
There's an interesting question, a proper question.
Hi guys, could you tell me what a freeze-out and double freeze-out tournament is? Love the show and watch most nights. Care to enlighten them?
Well, I don't know what double freeze-out is. I think what he means by double freeze-out is a double chance freeze-out.
I think so, yeah.
And a freeze-out is what it says, is you pay £20, £50, £100, £1,000. It doesn't matter. The chips you get when you start the competition are it. When you lose them, you're going home. That's a freeze-out.
There's no rebuys. With a rebuy.
There's no add-ons. That's the end of it. And that is what, that's the creme de la creme. That's poker at its best. Tournament poker at its best, because there's no second chances. The World Series of Poker is a freeze-out. Most big championships are freeze-outs. A double chance freeze-out is almost the same thing, in that when the competition begins, you're only given half of your stack. You pay the full amount, you pay your £20, your 50, your 100, your 1,000. You're given half of your stack, and at some stage in the first three levels, you are entitled or obliged to take the rest of your stack. So it adds an extra strategy to the game, because some people take their top up straight away. Let's say it's a 10,000 freeze out, you get 5,000 chips. Some will take their 10,000 straight away. Others will just take their 5,000. I'm in the latter camp. I just take my 5,000, I gamble. And then at the end of 3 levels, I take the rest. That's a freeze out. Essentially, a freeze out, what you pay to enter is the total. Good question.
And I think originated by Roy Houghton from the Stackers, that's right, isn't it?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the double chance format.
That's he was the man that invented that, was he? I know.
There was some discussion whether it was he or Barry Hearn, but he certainly was responsible for it happening.
It couldn't have been. Oh, well, no disrespect. How could it have been Barry Hearn?
Well, he's been known to put his fingers in the poker pie.
Well, he's a most splendid man, and he's got fingers in lots and lots of pies. But as to innovating a double chance freezer, if he's done that, then big up to him, because I never realised that.
Well, we'll assume then, given TK's scepticism, that it was Mr. Roy Houghton's idea.
Well, it's more likely to be Roy, isn't it? He is an innovative guy. He has brought a few things in. It could be Barry. You know, Barry's done a great deal for poker, and introduced a lot of interesting variants. But I'm surprised if he introduced double chance. If he is, Barry, we love you.
And if it's you, Roy, let us know. We're going to take a break now on Poker Night Live before seeing TK strut his stuff in a sit and go, so don't go away. We've got it all to play for. We're going to see you after this very short break. Welcome back to Poker Night Live. We've got a little email here from Ironside. TK's friend, who says...
He likes my tie.
No, I'm afraid not. I think this might be an ageist slur, but we'll see. It says, "Hey Tony, what was it like playing poker with Wild Bill Hickok?" Well, that is an ageist slur, isn't it? It's not funny. It's just ageist. I mean, it's insulting. I don't know why I read it out.
It's not even the least bit funny.
Right.
Yeah, that was, you know, I'm a gentleman in my 40s. I don't make a noise.
Sorry,
Make a noise about it, and I get all this grief from a Scot of all things.
From a Scot, can you mention it? Yeah.
We own them. You know we own them. Do you know we own the Queen owns all the Can't we not say that?
It's just the Welsh have gone and now the Scots are going. How do you feel about the Irish?
Oh, they're okay. They're okay. They've
Okay.
got a bit of water, haven't we? We're okay there. They should. In fact, I think they should send Liverpool across there. Shall I shut up?
Yep.
Okay.
That's all the emails we have or are likely to get from our viewers. So why not a reminder of the contact details so that you can not text or email us. Let's have a look. You can text us with this number here, 84222. Text poker and your ageist slur to TK there, or you can email your ageist slur or comment about ties to poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Well, there's absolutely no point in delaying it any longer. You're going to see pure poker gold right now because...
Before you do, may I ask how long it's taken you to build the audience for this programme?
Let me see, we've been broadcasting for about 15 months and it shows how quickly an
I've
empire
destroyed it
crumbled.
in an hour and a quarter.
The home counties are still with us, but that's about it.
You know I'm only joking, guys. Ish.
As I was saying, pure poker gold dust on its way, because Tony TK Kendall is going to show us all how it is done when it comes to playing sit and goes. I'm sure he won't disappoint us. Take it away, TK.
This is going to be difficult.
And you're playing on Matt Broughton's account, that's right, yeah?
Yes, that's correct.
He's put you into this tourney.
He's entered me, as they say.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you won't disappoint him.
The entry fee came from M. Broughton, and he entrusted me with his money, and I never let him down. Is this actually the same one I played? Because it looks different to me.
Well, the suits may change. So what we see as clubs may have been diamonds.
Well, I'm sure I disconnected. When I come back, I've lost most of my chips.
Well, you've still got 1,000 here, TK, so until proven otherwise, we'll assume that you were treated fairly by the server.
I lost with aces against sixes.
Okay. This was this sit and go, yeah? Not,
Yes.
Not an unverifiable
No,
value.
this sit and go here, I'm sure that's what I had.
So you've seen Trev play in the cash game? And,
Yeah, the two players that were busy were Trev and Ipswich 5. They were in a lot of pots.
Well, it's his birthday, isn't it?
I suppose that's it, yes. Namick says, I don't know how it happened, but he took quite a beat early. And so he played what I call lunge poker after that. He kept lunging in. It's quite difficult to play against. But I liked him because he had less chips than me for a while.
Wow.
See, I told you I disconnected.
Extraordinary. What happened, do you think? Did you...
Well, I was about to click and I just lost the picture.
Oh,
There it goes again, look.
they're all pixelated. You don't look too good there, do you?
I actually look a little better.
You look a
some
bit
would say.
like, what's it, John Reed? Who's the guy who does, he's the manager for, is it Sunderland? You look a bit like him anyway.
I don't think that was John Reed, was it?
Jim Reed? Ian Reed? Peter Reed.
His name was
that's it.
Peter Reed. I remember as a midfielder for Everton of all teams.
Well, you're not helping yourself on the age of slur front.
It wasn't
here,
long
TK.
ago, it was about 3 years ago, and he was as hard as nails.
Uh-huh.
Oh, he was a dreadful man. And then he went to Sunderland. I think they won 2 matches in 4 years. And then he went to Coventry, and they've done the same. Wonderful manager. They've done a documentary on him, and he never stopped swearing, if you recall.
Do you think we should do an email while we're
We have more
we're
emails?
pixelating? Yeah, we've got one here from Snuggybug.
Oh, I don't know Snuggybug, so we're safe here.
Should we read it out? Why not? Snuggybug says, Dear Dr. Tom and TK, I play a lot of tournaments, mostly sit and goes and multis. and I'm overall a winning player. We believe you. However, recently I've noticed I'm suffering an unusual number of bad beats delivered mostly on the river. Now, don't get me wrong. I know we will get rivered at times, and it can be frustrating, but it seems to be happening to me lately a disproportionate number of times. I suspect it's because I'm getting better at reading the situation, and I can usually get my chips in with the best hand. But then the inferior hand often calls, and I'm then getting busted out or severely crippled by some miracle card. Is there some general principle that I'm missing? Can you offer any advice? Can you offer any advice to Snuggybug and his sort of implied conspiracy theory, I think?
Yeah, Mr. Bug, if I can call you Smuggy, I think this is just a form thing, I really do. A lot of people go through this, and it's very frustrating. You do point out that you're not suggesting there's anything improper, but form is a strange thing, and sometimes you go for a week or a fortnight and you can't hit a card, you get outdrawn every time. This is the time to show backbone, to show some resolution. It's a fair game, but it's a game of luck, and it will happen. And just as you get bad beats for a fortnight in a row, so you'll get good form as well. You can go in some competitions and you cannot miss. You go in behind every hand, you catch a 3-outer, your hands hold up, your ace-king hits, your pair of sixes against ace-king holds up. It's just a form thing. The thing about it is not to let it affect your play. It does affect some people's play. They tilt up. You mustn't do that. It is just form. It is just poor fortune. It'll rout itself. Don't change your game. Be strong.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the thing about poker is that you can make 100% brilliant play that will leave you in a position where you are 60-40. And that is going to happen again and again. And because you have that feeling of absolute invincible brilliance, because you made the best play you possibly could, you still can't quite believe that you're going to get outdrawn 40% of the time. But it will happen. Unfortunately, those are the odds. So, as Tikay says there, you've just got to deal with that. And if you made the right play and got your chips in with the best of it, you can sit down if you like and say how far ahead you were and how much you will win in the long run, given the amount of chips in the middle. Because that is how much you will win. But on that occasion, you just didn't.
Another way of looking at this is, particularly in tournaments, and I think we're mainly talking about tournaments here, is if you're a low stack or operating with a low to medium stack and you get all your chips in one of these 60-40 coups and get outdrawn, then you're out the competition. If you have a deep stack and you take the 60-40 on and lose it, you're still in the competition. And when you see guys like Julian Thu, for example, who's got a magnificent game but a very unorthodox one, he will go in with the 40-60 shot time after time after time because he's got a deep stack and he can afford to take the hits. And 4 times out of 10 he's going to win anyway. Now, you really need to go back to the root of the problem here. You can't stop 60-40 shots getting outdrawn. They will get outdrawn 4 times in 10. But if you have a deep stack relative to your opponent, you can survive it. And if you have a shallow stack, you cannot survive it. So getting back to the root of the problem, you need to operate with a deeper stack.
There you go. You heard it from the horse's mouth.
That's the tricky bit.
But yeah, how do you do that then?
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't got to that chapter yet.
Top up at the first stage.
I had a mountain of chips on Sunday in the Sportsman. I could not. I had the most extraordinary series of big hands, but still managed to do them all. So
maybe that should be your memoir, An Extraordinary Series of Big Hands by Tony Tikay Kendall.
Yeah, maybe. It's a form thing. You know, when your hands hold up, you know very well, and I feel for this guy here, but when you win a tournament, every ace-king hits, and every hand that takes on ace-king holds up. And other times, you just can't get it to happen once. That's got nothing to do with skill, it's just the deal of the card. But if you go in with more chips than the other guy, you're going to survive. But remember, there's a lot of luck in poker.
There you go, the inner game. I think our game might have calmed down a bit, so let's go and have a look at it. It's been cleverly paused as well, so...
Is that the game that I was in?
Yeah, I'm afraid so. There's no getting away from it.
One was hoping it may have had to be rerun or something. There were a series of misunderstandings.
Did you hack into the code to hide your traces? Look, you've got 8s, TK. What are you thinking here?
Goodness me.
We haven't seen how
this bloke overbet here, and I was sure I was in front. You watch his huge bet here. Oh dear, how embarrassing is that?
Well, you know, he looks like he's got a jack or a 7. You're behind both ways. You can't put him on a gut shot. I feel for you, TK.
You don't.
No, I do. I really. I feel for you.
The thing is, we've missed the hand here that changed the... No, I didn't play any hands brilliantly, except my aces at the end. That changed the whole course. When you play these sit and goes, to my view, I used to play this for a living, and if you're going to get involved with any hand early, then you must be sure you're going to win it, because otherwise you're on the back foot. Really, the tactic is to sit out early and let the others bust each other out for a while, unless you get big hands. Now, I played a big hand here. I played king, queen suited, and I raised it up before the flop, and I got a caller.
This is the one we've missed, is it?
We've missed. This is how I got down to 710, which changed the course of it. I'm not suggesting I was unfortunate, but I played a hand and it went wrong for me. I raised it up with king, queen suited. I got a caller. The flop came ace high. And I bet out, because if I didn't bet out, I think he's going to steal it from me. And so I've done the raise, and I bet out on the ace high flop.
Fair enough.
And he's moved over the top now. Now I have to let go. So now I'm on the back foot all the way, and it's survival poker from here.
But yeah, I mean, come on, you've got 35 big blinds there,
yeah,
TK.
I passed with great panache for quite a while. I played brilliant passive poker.
Did you?
I did.
Well, that's great, because we don't often talk about a brilliant passive poker player.
Well,
we normally say it's terrible and you should avoid it, but this is great to see this new take.
Well, it didn't work for me, but the fact is...
it's form, isn't it?
Again, it is form, but you know, I mentioned Dave Colclough quite a few times, but he's a supremely successful player, and he happens to be a partner of mine, a business partner. And if you ask him for the most important ability in tournament poker, the top 3 tips he will give you are patience, patience, and patience. He believes that most people don't have this patience, and you need to have to wait. It's a little different in a quick clock sit and go, I know, but it still applies. And most people could improve their game. Mickey Wernick, look at the patience that Mickey shows. He can sit there for days. It doesn't trouble him. He can get off hands, he can put hands down. Be patient, be disciplined, look for the best situation. It's got nothing to do with reading poker books, that though, is it? It's just common sense, it's just logic, it's not a poker skill. And it's like, you know, this particular thing I have with people that tilt up, you know, grown men tilting out. It's a weakness, it's going to damage their game. And we see it again and again from otherwise sane and sensible people. Best young player I've seen in a long time is JP Kelly. Have you played with JP?
Not knowingly.
He won the 500 event at the Sportsman last week in an absolute canter. He won it hard held, and the guy is going to be extraordinary, but he doesn't have tilt in him. You know, he takes his beat, shrugs his shoulders and walks on. Whereas you see people that have been playing it for years still can't deal with bad beats. It's very odd when you see it in the textbooks. Everybody's complaining about their hands. You know, what good's that going to do? It might rain tomorrow, but moaning won't stop it.
Six nine.
I think I should move in here. A good player would move in. I was in front anyway. I'm on a straight draw.
Yeah, you're in front because you're going to hit the straight. Unfortunately, you won't see it.
8-10.
He's going to get away from it, I reckon, TK.
Well, he's behind. That was the hand I won.
Well done.
I don't think there are any more. But to be fair, when I've gone in with my aces, there's nothing I can do about it. Oh, this is the gentleman that we just had the question from, Snuggybug. Or the young lady.
So it is.
It may be a young lady, for all we know. Snuggy sounds a bit young ladyish, doesn't it?
Well, now you're going to give him a complex.
Well, it might be a her.
Yeah, but if it's a bloke, now he's going to have a complex.
Well, if it's a girl, it's going to have a complex. There's always a chance
Well, you
it could
said
be
he's
a
got
girl.
a girly name.
There's always a chance it could be a girl. Never give up hope, that's my motto.
Send us a picture, Snuggybug, as long as it's not ambiguous.
I had a picture tonight, I can't show it unfortunately, of Robert H.M., the gentleman that wrote in earlier.
I'm hearing here that the email address from Snuggybug is Dave.
Dave? Well, I know a few Daves.
Any of them women?
Oh, I see. Well, it could be, yeah. It could be short for Davina.
Could be. Do you think that Oriental dealer at our table in Sportsman was a bloke? Because I heard a rumour, but I don't believe it.
Well, I heard several. I'm pleased you heard that. I got back to the hotel and somebody said to me that dealer was a man.
I don't believe it.
Well, I don't believe it, and if it was, I don't really care. I mean, it wouldn't matter.
That's refreshingly honest.
Did you see her wedding ring thing?
The tattoo?
Correct. Do you know what it said?
No, I didn't.
It appeared to say Uduv.
Ah, yeah. What does that mean?
It said voodoo.
Oh.
I was reading it upside down. But her boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend, or as if the rumours are true, her ex-girlfriend, her ex-boyfriend has got a matching one.
Ah.
They both have a tattoo around their wedding ring finger saying voodoo. And I think, to be absolutely serious for a moment, everybody in the casino said the same thing, that this young lady had been a young man.
No.
But that is just nonsense. There was nobody more feminine than that young lady, and I think it's slightly offensive to her. She took to me, you know.
Really?
Yes, she did. She had that sort of glint in her eye. She was, you know the way they undress you when they look at you?
I think I've noticed that, actually.
She was looking at me
I
in
saw
a
that
sort
chemistry.
of, you know, that sort of way they do.
Yeah. So was I, but you didn't notice that because you were looking at her.
Yes.
Look at this pot, Tikay. Aren't you glad you're out of it?
Ace, king, king, queen, queens, jack 8. And jack 8...
Live cards. Live suited cards. Oh, he's let it go. Maniac. He's going to make the backdoor flush.
No.
No.
No. Well, I like to see the best hand win, I honestly do. I don't like to see people going in from behind and winning. I just like to see the best hand hold up. If you get in with kings against ace and you strike your king, they bang the table and clap and shout and holler. But you've been outplayed, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
You just have, end of story. Now, if you get in with ace king against deuces and you hit your ace or king, you've been lucky because you went in behind.
Right for representation, straightening, flushing, and a pair. Thing is, you would bet that if you had a hand.
Mm.
So
Yeah, the thing is, if you've got nothing to do with that but jacks, queens, you're going to have to bet out anyway because of the flush possibility. Those pots can get very big.
You've got a bad ace here, Tikay.
Yeah, I've got a thing about bad. I don't play bad aces. I just don't play them. There are very few situations where it's a bit odd this because there's 8 runners and I've busted out about 6. So it's
spoil all the suspense.
Well, it's possible I could bust out about 6.
Okay, you in fact won it.
Of course I won it. Other than those aces running into 6s, but the thing is, I think playing bad aces is the road to ruin. You imagine ace 8, the hands that you're in trouble against, that you're likely to be facing, ace king, ace queen, you're in terrible trouble. Any sort of pair. It's a terrible play. I'd rather be getting in there with 10 jack or a 9-8 or something and get myself some several way action.
Well, you know, that's my way of looking at it. But I do see players who I respect playing weak aces strongly.
I see it again and again, and I play quite a lot of multis online at the $200, $300, $400 level buy-in. So one expects reasonable players in this. Mm-hmm. And you see very big pots early, and the guys show their hands at the end, and he's got ace 4, ace 5. It astonishes me. But you want these players in the pot with you, don't you? Okay, they hit now and then, and people go off on their little tantrum, their little childish tantrum, but you want these guys in the pot because they are serious underdogs. But how can they think they're winning?
If you are going to play a bad ace, you have to have a very good radar for detecting when you're up against a better ace. And
yeah,
it's
difficult if you've got hand reading skills, but if you play a bad ace and you hit the ace, what happens now? You've got ace 5 and you catch the ace. Do you think you're winning? Well, you might well be, but...
In the big blind with pocket 8s. Now, how does wily Tony Tikay Kendall play these? with a big raise. What do you do if he comes over the top of you here, TK?
To be honest with you, I got the blinds confused there. I raised too much. No, I did. It was a mystery, you know. I got the blinds confused, but...
Don't try and read this, man.
No. I think if he come over the top, I have to let it go, to be truthful with you.
Not likely, though, is it? He'll do that. It's such a big move.
No.
Well, bad ace, pushing out slightly better ace.
But if he called me and he doesn't bet the flop, because he had first to speak, then I'm betting out anyway. I'm saying, oh, that's it.
You've got to take a view.
I've got to live with it. As you can see, I'm getting some excellent starting material here.
Yeah. How are you going to play it, though?
I'm going to do my ladder in pass passive trick.
Is that a trap fold?
A trap fold, yes. This really is doing my image no good at all, this, isn't it?
Well, we know you can only just to
I'm
misrepresent
passing with
your
style.
Here it comes.
Yep.
Oh,
ace.
That's a bad ace.
Yeah. Well, let's see what happens now when we talk about what we should and shouldn't do. Let's see what I do here. Mind you, it's sweeted, isn't it? There you go.
There you
Let it go.
Proves his points.
I pass my bad ace to a bad ace.
Gets away from it.
The guy with ace 7 gets me off my ace 5.
You'd never have split that. He was going to win all the way. So the blinds have doubled now, TK. So you've now plummeted to about 9 big blinds.
Oh, here's a nice hand.
Yeah, you've picked up a monster.
9-2.
It's true what you say about patience.
I knew it would come eventually. 7-4, look. There's a hand. I was actually hoping to get in against either Snuggybug, Dave as we call him, or Name Exists, because they were too low stats. So I could get myself back in the game off those. They would obviously be playing Desperation Poker, but never happened. Here's my hand, Jack 4. I have to make the point that when I was playing, I couldn't see the other people's cards. But judging by these hands, it wouldn't have made much difference. You see, this guy here, Ipswich 5, is in this pot with ace 3 in mid-position.
Oh.
And he's going to win it.
He's going to win it, yeah.
Yeah, well, you can't argue with that. He's played it nicely.
You have to work hard with the hand to make it a winner. It's not going to come to you.
He's got big cahoolies, hasn't he? The guy in seat 2, in seat 1, knows he has none of that. He can't possibly have any of that. He's come, was it 2 5s and a deuce?
Something innocuous.
He's got none of that, he knows that. But the guy's shoved his chips in. And so when we ridicule a guy that plays small aces, you know, it depends how you play flops, because the guy's got himself involved under the gun with ace 3 and he's took a pot. But he took big risks to take it. Because the guy in seat 1, the guy to his right, was in the blinds and could have had a 5 or a deuce.
Mm-hmm.
That was Tom just dropping his pen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's my hand.
How are you going to play it, though?
Well, if it had got round to me without any action, I was going to showboat here and raise it up, but my friend Name Exists got his chips in and I fancied he was ahead. That's a strange
And how do you read
bet,
him for having a better hand?
Well, because I got deuce 3, that was my read.
But you could be splitting it.
I could be splitting it. Yeah, look, now I've got a hand. Not only have I got deuce 3, I'm dominated by 5-3. This is so embarrassing, but most of these hands I've seen here I can't do much about. You see, I could still there with deuce 3, but I just...
I don't think you need to.
No, I'm not in the panic situation yet. I could find something better.
The trouble is, Name Exists keeps betting when you might want to nick.
Yes, he had his timing spot on. And there again, now he's found a hand now. Look, he's got ace king under the gun. I quite like 9-10 on the button. I might have done something here. And judging by the cards, I'd have got it through, but he's acted first. He who acts first. He was very busy, wasn't he? One move molly, I call these guys, that all in every time. Eventually you catch them. Now is my hand. Oh. See, they're getting better. I said if I waited long enough, they'd come.
Suited?
Suited, yeah. I got straight, possibly straight flush possibilities even.
Probably live. Well, let's go.
Yeah, I think I might have struggled to the raise that's about to hit me here. Boof, in it goes. I do assume that Ipswich is going to let this go. Yeah.
Hello, I think we've got some stats coming. Pre-flop folds, let's see how tight TK is. Well, he's at the tighter end of things there. 84% of the time he's folded.
I'm almost
pre-flop.
best, am I? Is that right? Almost worst. It's upside down.
Almost
right?
tightest.
Almost tightest. Well, to be absolutely fair, I didn't know that. Is that 84%?
Folded.
Right. Well, having seen the cards we've seen and the way that the guys are moving in before me, I don't think that's unreasonable. I don't think that's surprising.
Mm. Well, now you're down to 8 big blinds, so you've still got you can let that button go past once, provided the blinds aren't about to raise. And even then, I think, oh look, it's happened again. You've been pushed out of a chance to get your chips
that
in.
was my spot, and the guy's done me, and I can't make that play with ace-9. I can't get him off. He's made 480, I got 640, he's not going to be able to pass. I don't think ace-9 is a hand to go to war with. Here we go, ace-3,
Ugh.
fantastic.
Yeah, it's too small, isn't it?
Not interested.
I agree.
Under the gun as well.
Oh, he's a bit of a ducker and diver, that name exists, isn't he?
Isn't he just? Yeah, considering he had a low chips early, or she hadn't, it may be a she. Survived a long time. We're not going to get involved this time, that's for sure. This could be my chance.
You're looking for a walk, but
Queen
I think Willy
deuce.
Wall might attack you. No. Oh, don't say it's going to nick your big blind, TK. That would just be uncivil.
No, I think I've got a walk here. I played that so well.
Happy days.
No, I gave him the stare down. What you don't see is I looked at him in that sort of...
You had a firm hand on your mouse.
You know that way that you look at people. There we go, there's my chance of nicking the blinds gone.
Same old, same old. Well, look,
They had me outplayed, didn't they? Let's be honest. They had my number here.
They're all using
well and truly. Here we go, 2-5. A better player would have doubled up by now or been out by now.
Well, I mean,
That's
you're in
the
it
fact.
for the entertainment value, aren't you, TK? I mean, it's a bit embarrassing if you get knocked out in the first few
Well,
rounds.
I was rather hoping to sort of last a little longer and have some fun, but as you can see, I'm having a bit of a struggle here.
Well, I'm having fun. We're at the 4th level of the blinds.
It's down to 7. I'm in the last 7. I'm not even low chip. I guess I have, well, if there was someone with less than me, I wouldn't be low chip. Here we go.
I love this. And ace king, ace 5, you're going to get called from name exists probably.
This is, do you know, I'm sure I had aces here.
You do. It's just a misprint on the screen.
I'm sure when I saw it, it was aces.
Ace is a long way ahead of 6s, of course.
Yes, exactly.
And
but it looks like a king there, doesn't it?
he's dead to a 6. Look at that.
And I was flushing and all sorts.
Unfortunately, the aces lose on this occasion.
I'm sure I had aces there. So that was a bit of an anticlimax, wasn't it?
Well,
My first beat the presenter and I got whopped.
Well, it is called Beat the Presenter.
Yeah, I
Or
did
whop
get
the presenter.
I got seriously whopped, there's no doubt about that. I'd like to try another one at some stage, but that's a tail between legs job.
Well, I don't think you've got anything to feel ashamed about there, TK, at all.
Are we still getting emails?
Yeah, we've got one from Graham. He says, hi guys, I'm really enjoying the show. I've been playing poker for about 6 months, firstly playing multi-table tournaments, having a couple of fairly big wins, but then missing the cut on many occasions. A $400 win seems to draw you in and make you play more tournaments, but the sheer size of the field seems to often cut down your chances. Well, you get paid down quite a few places in an internet tourney. This is when I found my way to sit and goes, mainly 5, 10 and 6-seater tourneys. I started off playing $2.50 sit and goes, with first prize getting $6.25. I managed to build up a bankroll of $60, which I was quite pleased with. However, I found after a short while this wasn't cutting it anymore, and I decided to move up to the $10 sit and goes. I felt fairly confident that I could make the money most times I played, but I would often win a few games and then just miss the money at other times, and my bankroll started to look in a bit of a sorry state. After just missing this money, going out to a bigger full house, and being overly aggressive at the start of the sit and go, I found myself going into a $20 sit and go, just to try and break even again. It isn't fun chasing the cards to build up your once flourishing bankroll. Do you think I moved up too soon into bigger games? I'm quite disheartened with poker at the moment. All I hear is people talking about the skill of the game and many of the pros out there, but to be honest, I'm more inclined to believe that poker is all about luck. Poker, in my opinion, is a progression of hands which inevitably leads to two players that are put on a hand neither of them are going to put down. A nut flush versus a full house seems a prime example. People end up going in with hands they think are good enough, and even if they lose, they convince themselves it was a correct play at the time with the information available. There are hands that no pro will put down, and even if he or she does, we cannot say it was purely skill. Luck, 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 luck. Poker is about luck. Why, I hear you say? Because every single skillful play needs an element of luck to succeed. All the best, says Graham. Well, certainly a disillusioned man. Can you...
Well, he actually touches on some interesting points there, and he's not wrong in many things, but he's just missing a couple. Dealing with the second one first, luck, luck, luck. We spoke earlier about luck, luck, luck. It is a game of luck. You know, a 60-40 shot is a big advantage, and it loses 4 times out of 10. But if you have enough chips, then you can survive it, and the skill is to have enough chip to survive it, or pick your spots such that you would go in against people that can't bust you. So yes, it's luck, but there's a way of managing that luck. The other thing that troubles me about your email is that you did progress up the levels fairly quickly, and it seemed to me that at one stage, when you went up to the $20 level, you went up there quickly because you took some beats at the 10 and you wanted to get back to your bankroll fairly quickly. You started off correctly and at very small and built up a big bankroll, but then you tried to find a shortcut to success. It doesn't work. Moving out of your bankroll is the most dangerous and fatal thing you can do in tournament poker, because it will break you very quickly and it will cause you a lot of problems. A little story that you know, many people that know me know about is 2 years ago I actually played sit and goes for a living, and I ran $600 up to $27,000 in around about 4 months, and without changing my game in any shape or form, the $27,000 became $6,000 in a month. In other words, I lost $21,000. Now what happened? I got to $27,000 by variance, just getting fortunate, playing okay. I went from 27,000 to 6,000, which is a loss of 21, by variance again. I was still playing okay, or the same as before. The luck went against me. The 6 then went up to 18. But you can see the level of variance that there is in tournament poker. You need to be very, very careful. Doesn't matter how well you're playing, and I'm not saying I played well or bad or average. The fact is I played the same all the way through that run. I went from 0 to 27,000 down to 6,000. So if you haven't got bankroll, you're going to get in trouble quickly. Be careful.
Absolutely right there. I mean, you just can't move up to chase losses. Maybe you're a winning player at the $20 sit and go level, maybe not. Until you've proven yourself at the $10 sit and go, assume you're not, and that is absolutely crucial. So when there's no real alternative to slog it out where you took the beat, slog it out there at that level, and then showing the world and yourself and your opponents that you can beat the game and you can conquer the variance, and then when you've got the bankroll, move up, but don't chase. Wonderful. Let's go back now to that sit and go. Snuggybug, aka Dave Davina. Ooh, in trouble. Gut shot or a 10 needed. Neither arrives. He's out.
I thought Matt, Ace King Queen Jack 10 and Willie Wall 2 were the pick of this field.
Yeah.
I fancy these two well enough heads up. they look to be playing the best poker to me. Well, there's an unusual situation. 10-8, 8-3 and a 3's winning. But I don't think he knows he's winning.
And the 8 no good for Ipswich. But he's got position, bets to find out where he is. He can get away from that if Ipswich comes over the top. So that's one reason why the bet size was judged so, and he takes it down. And a fairly comfortable chip lead, but with blinds this big it can change very quickly. I wonder if Name Exists is going to benefit from his early aggression by just having people not wanting to get involved with them. 480 in the pot. Willie Wall can put this down. Does Name Exists want to put the pressure on? No, decides his own image is not sufficient to carry that bluff through. And now he's got what he wanted, a big hand. And unfortunately no one's bet into him. Well, Jack's not that big, he might not be too disappointed to take the pot down. And Ipswich now, I think, should move all in here. With a suited king and one player behind him, he'll probably get called. Difficult. It's nasty calling the 5s there, but I think you've got to do it because your opponent almost certainly doesn't have a pocket pair. AK, you're almost certainly ahead, unless he's got something like 10 Jacks suited. And the 5s on that occasion hold up. Nasty call, but I think he had to make it. You agree, TK?
Yes, yes. You see, this Name Exists.
Confusing, isn't it?
Had no chips from early doors, same as me. And by taking the initiative, it ended up in the top 3.
Well, you say that, TK, but I mean, the truth is that, you know, you waited and then got it all in with a good hand, and it so happened it was no good. And he went up and down, playing a perfectly valid game, quite different. But I don't think in the long run I could say that his game is...
Well, in the long run, no, I think he's going to get turned over big time. But I am saying that there is a method of playing when you've got a short stack. He just kept moving his chips in. And he nearly got to the top 2. I think it's a girl, actually.
Why do you think that?
Namey, that's a girl, isn't it?
Oh, that must be it, yeah.
Yeah.
Or Nami.
Yeah, Nami. Whereas I'm pretty sure Willie Wall is a man.
You've got amazing reading skills.
Yes,
Where do you get it from?
Yeah, there you go.
You should work for the CIA. Perhaps you do.
I still say it's going to be Willie Wall and Matt that get heads up. This is looking at the way they're playing.
$4.80 in the pot, and even distribution of chips. 7-8 decides to let it go. Keeping the pressure on.
To be serious, he keeps moving in here, and he must have done it 20 times. Eventually, you're going to get caught.
I sympathise.
This may even be the time he gets caught.
Matt would have called him with ace-9. Oh, yeah.
Oh, don't hit your jack. He didn't want to hit his jack there, did he?
No.
So now he's been caught at last, but eventually, if you move all your chips in often enough, you are going to get caught. And now, of course, it's chuck it in time. He could treble up, yeah? Or double up.
Looking a bit thin now.
Yeah, he's got to catch his... Oh, he's caught his king.
And it's good.
Yeah.
Still in trouble, though.
Well, the thing is in trouble. The thing is, he's now got 900 chips with blinds at 163.20. One double up, he's right back in it.
I think he has to move here.
Yep.
And for me, 7-10 is good for a call there. Certainly with the added equity of the fact that I can knock him out. I call there, TK. Don't know about you?
Well, I call because Name Exists could literally have any 2 cards. It's almost certainly, at worst, 60-40.
That's exactly it.
At worst.
He's not going to have jacks, kings, queens or aces.
If he does, it's just tough. It's unlucky. Now he's going to get caught, I'm pretty sure. Yep.
Difficult to see how he's going to wriggle out that one. Well, he's got an out now.
He has got outs now, but... Well, almost caught them as well, but he's gone. Well, that was a good prediction by me, that these two would get heads up.
Again, amazing reading. And perfectly reasonable. And Willie Wall has got only 3 times his big blind. He can just about fold which is an important consideration when you make a move there. But he might yet call with a worse hand. That's another thing to bear in mind when you make a bet like that. In fact, it's called with a slightly better one. Not much better. A lot better now, though. A bit of a reversal.
Ace 4. Though, to be fair, when we was talking about little aces earlier, we were talking on a four-handed table. It's a different position when there's only two of you. I still don't like the hand much, but I'll never be converted to small aces. I'm pretty brave if I got an ace with an ace kicker, though. Yep, I'm
Even unsuited.
even unsuited.
Stick it in. Fair enough? Fair enough.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, now I think
He's
you can
up and
bet.
down here, but this 5's going to win this, you watch.
Oh, he didn't semi-bluff. I bet there, TK. I don't know about you. That up and down is a big hand for me.
With the 8-9?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Now he's ahead.
But how the draw's gone to his opponent.
Yeah, that draw is reversed.
They could split it. Nope.
Perfect. Well, that's right and proper. 9-8 against 9-5. 9-8 ought to win that. They both, oh, goodness me. They both played very well and they deserved to be first and second. I actually thought Matt, Ace King Queen Jack 10, played the better poker.
And why do you think that?
I just felt he was able to put hands down. I like the name Matt. I don't like the name Willie. No, seriously, I felt that he just was the class player. And I really don't actually know who won this in the end.
That was a big fold. Ooh. And the thing about Wiley is he's flat calling pre-flop, and I see a little advantage in this situation.
Well, this is bluff and bluff. They're betting and calling with nothing here. Nobody's got a thing, and there's bets and calls. So Willie all needs to move in now to nick this. And they checked on the end, did they?
Look that way.
I see no sense in calling down when you're not on the draw if you're not going to bet out in the end. You're just burning chips. If you're going to call down, call through the streets, do it with a view to making some action on the end.
Look, exactly even. And you must move. And he should have gone all in there and deprive. I mean, Wiley folded, but he might just conceivably have called there.
You know, Matt has to move all in every hand here. He must deny Willie Wall breath. He must put his knee on his windpipe.
It's firmly there now. Looking good.
Well, there you go. I'd said it would be Matt and Willie Wall, I believe, a long way out. It was. I think a worthy winner as well.
Well done, lads. Top banana. And I think the prestige place was 6th place myself.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought I passed magnificently to 6, and I really did think I had aces there.
Let's have a look at a cash game then. That's enough sit and go madness. Here it comes. It's the old 25.50. There's Snuggy Bug, look. Multi-tabling. Up in seat 1. And the strangely named Symbiont is raising 8 times the big blind in a very unsymbiotic way. Can't see the logic, but there it is.
Don't they get these some splendid names? Symbiont, Grimo, Talk Show, Sir McTavish, Gagsy,
McAtee3.
McAtee3, Shaky the Fish. Where do people get these names from? May I ask what name you have online, or is that a secret?
It's a top level secret, apart from the one I play on this site, which is Mackie Sapper.
Mackie Sapper. Where does that come from?
It's kind of monkey.
Well, I know that, but what is the connection between you and a monkey?
Well, about 20 million years, same as you.
I see. I know a monkey called Matt. Matt674.
A monkey called Matt674?
He believes he's a monkey.
Oh, okay. Has he got a tail?
He a lot of tails. He always posts them every day. But he genuinely believes he's a monkey. He writes in and asks for bananas and talks about things in the jungle. He's deluded. Nice guy though. Good player as well.
Yeah.
He's qualified for the World Series.
Well, this is quite extraordinary.
Yes. He qualified on primate.
I'm with you. I was going to ask your opinion about Queen King. Tikay, I went out of the tournament last night playing Queen King.
Well, I caused myself some damage playing Queen King in that tournament tonight. It's this situation here. He's running to Ace Queen. You're every chance running to Ace King or Ace Queen, and you're in. I don't mind raising first with it, but look at this situation here. What a mess he's in now. This is a typical King Queen. I've lost so many big pots with King Queen that, you know, I don't mind taking a stab with it, making a still, playing it, but I'm not going to get in too deep. You dropped your pen again.
No, that was Tikay this time. You can just leave it on the desk, please.
There's the answer to why you've got to be careful with King Queen. Have a bash with it by all means, but don't get in too deep. It is very, very likely to be dominated. Just to prove me wrong, you're going to hit 2 pairs now, but that's about the only way it's going to win. What a mess he's in here. He thinks he's miles ahead.
A couple of 9s for a split.
What a heart might save him, in that he might slow down.
He's all in, Tikay. He's pinned his colours to the
I can't
lines.
actually see that from here.
He's looking pretty grim.
Oh, he's a hospital case now.
Ah, well. So I'll tell you what the situation I was in last night. I was at the final table of a $50 internet comp.
Yep.
I've got Queen King, and I've got 7.5 big blinds. Or was it 8? Something like that. 5-handed, pretty standard table image. I'm under the gun. I move all in. I get knocked out by a pair of 10s. And I've failed to find any other way to play it than move all in, and I'm wondering if you have any great insight.
Well, there are only 2 things you could have done. One was to move in and one was to let it go. And are you going to get a better hand? The blinds are going to come around shortly, which is going to leave you 5 big blinds, is it?
Well, I'm on 7.5, so it's going to leave me with 6.
6, assuming they don't go up in the meantime. I think you had to take a run with it. And in the end, you was effectively Ace-King against a pair of 2s, in odds terms.
Sure.
As it happened, I think it's one of those things. The fact is, let's go back to the root of the problem. You didn't have enough chips, did you?
Oh, I had lots about 3 minutes before.
Ah, yes. Well, that's when the problems arise. If you had enough chips, it doesn't matter, because you can play it different. It's when you get low on chips that you're forced into situations, as Graham wrote to us earlier, he keeps getting busted. If he had more chips, he wouldn't get busted.
So have more chips. Preferably have all the chips. Yes. That is the secret to playing Queen King.
We're going to work towards how we get those chips later, but you're not going to ask me that question because I don't know.
That's right. We'll be covering that when TK is gone.
Yeah.
A quick reminder of the text and email reminders to get in touch with myself and TK. Here they are. You can text the show on 84222. Just text poker and your question to 84222, or if you prefer to use your difference engine, then you can send an email to poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Don't forget to the web address www.pokernightlive.co.uk. Well, after the break, we will of course be looking at the final of that glorious MTT that we kicked off the evening with. Be interested to see how our players have been getting on. So don't go away when we've got all the thrills and spills of that. Hopefully some good final table action there. We do like seeing the final table of the MTTs because unlike the sit and goes, of course there is quite a lot of play left, particularly if there's been madness earlier on. So come back in about 7-8 minutes for the last hour of tonight's Poker Night Live. Welcome back to Poker Night Live. Let's have a look at a quick email before we go to that multi-table final. We've got one here from, who was it from? Balrog UK, Steve, who says the following. He says, morning Tom and TK. You got to Wednesday, TK, and things seem to have gone well. Enjoyable show, and you certainly had yet another perspective. Anyway, I have a question. Pod odds. How's your pod odds, TK?
Terrible.
Okay, I had a situation a couple of weeks back where my fellow players barracked me for folding. 2 places for the money and a sit and go. I was in cut-off with suited connectors and I raised. Big blind re-raised me. I believe he has me pegged as fairly tight, so I carried on and re-raised him back. It is something I rarely do, so you say. He pondered, asked if I had the aces, and then put his chips in. Basically, I then had huge odds to call, something like 250 chips to a 2.5k pot, but knowing the player as I think I do, I was certain I was behind now. I was left sitting with approximately 2 big blinds left and folded, thinking at the time my sit and go life or an outside chance of coming back or sneaking into the money. Ultimately, he showed he had queen-queen, although that's academic, I know. The ensuing discussion, needless to say, had me vaguely trying to justify my laydown, all in good humour, by the way, and if honest, were I a non-participant in the hand, I would have joined the majority view myself. Question is therefore, when you know you're behind, even when pot committed, is it ever acceptable, in your opinion, to fold to huge pot odds on the outside chance things may ultimately go your way? So you've got the suited connectors there, Steve, and you're getting 10 to 1, I think. Well, you're certainly getting 10 to 1 against queens with suited connectors, aren't you?
You are. Let's start at the beginning. I add another perspective to the show. Not quite sure what that means, but I'll take that as a compliment for the moment.
It is a compliment, I can assure you.
Thank you very much. Actually, you put some very nice comments on the forum, so many thanks to Balrog. The guys barracked him. So what? They don't pay your entry fee. You do. You play your game the way you wish to. They take any notice of what people say. They want to have a go, you let them have a go. If they want to pay the entry fee, then you do as they say. If you pay the entry fee, you do as you want. Should you fold? Well, you're getting the odds here, but this is an odd one. This is a peculiar situation. There's a big, big difference between tournament poker and cash poker. In tournament poker, the first rule is survival, and most people would say with odds of 10 to 1 you should call, but bear in mind, if you miss, you're out. Whereas if you pass it up, you can still survive. In cash poker, it's an absolute nailed-on no-brainer. You have to call. End of story. In tournament poker, personally, I would pass it, but I think I'd be in a minority there. I think you would take the shot, wouldn't you?
I would take the shot every time.
Well, there's different ways of looking at it. I'm sure I'm in a minority. I may well be wrong, but for me, survival is key. In a cash game, I'm in like a shot. In a tournament, I get out of the way. I've got another chance next hand. Move in first. Who knows? Good email.
There you go. Thanks for that, Steve. What else have we got? We've got one here from Declan saying, Dr. Tom, I'd just like to say, great show. Good. And thank you for the advice you gave me last week. I told you the style of play I had was real tight, and you said I would be better suited to playing sit and goes. I've taken your advice, and I'm now doing okay now, steadily building my bankroll. Thank you. P.S. he says, I called Barry by the wrong name last week. Can you apologise to him for me? I called him Barry the Bullet instead of Barry the Bully. Don't worry, Declan, he has been called much worse. And finally, we've got an email here from Snuggybug. It's a photo. And Snuggybug is indeed a man, I can assure you. Or if he's not, then he's got problems. But apparently, then the girly name is the pet name given to after they met. Now, isn't that just lovely?
Well, I think it was rather rude of you to call him a girl in the first place. But yes, it's rather romantic, isn't it?
It's very romantic. It's lovely. We've got a guy with a birthday. We've got honeymooning.
Yeah, Snuggybug.
Snuggy-buggy people. It's a great show tonight. It was so... We're going to get our mugs of coffee. It's so homely in here tonight.
If you'd like to tell us how that name actually originated in more detail, then we'll keep it to ourselves.
We promise. Of course. Right, MTT. No point beating around the bush, is there? The final table, as the Europe song goes. So here we are. Blinds 500, 1,000. And, well, not exactly chipped up here on the final table. Far from it. Mopper's got the lion's share. Hot Rocks also, but everyone else fairly low stacked. And we've got 3 very seriously low stacked players here with 5 big blinds or fewer, 7 big blinds or fewer rather. And Nuotto Steve moves in for 7 big blinds with Queen Jack, which is, yeah, you can. Depends on the big blind. If he's a punishing player who likes to call, I'd pass Queen Jack. But if he's reasonably tight, I guess you've got to take a spin with that Queen Jack on the assumption that if you get called, your cards may well be live if someone looks you up with Ace-8 or something. So the reason why I was trying to nick your blind the other day, TK, and got myself knocked out, was I have you pegged as a man who loves to bet but hates to call.
Yes, I think that's something I learned from more than anybody else from Julian Thu, is take a chance with any sort of rubbish, but when you're calling, I've lost a lot of big hands and a lot of big situations by calling when I should have moved first. I nearly won a really, really big tournament in Paris, which would have been wonderful. I was up against John Kabadge and a couple of others, and made an appalling call and threw my chips away, basically, whereas I could have moved first with any sort of junk, and I'd have got it through because I had good table image. I do like to move first.
It's funny you say that you learnt that principle of basically moving with rubbish but calling with only with strong hands from Thew, because I saw him call with a pair of 5s against Koresh in a gut shot competition, and he was ahead.
Wasn't that an extraordinary call? I saw the whole hand, and I asked Julian about this afterwards. It was a breathtaking play, and he just said that he knew that Koresh would move with anything, and he felt sure he was ahead. But his tournament was on the line there. I can't make that call. And he got a lot of stick for it as well, but he knew where he was.
How can you give someone stick when the cards come over and they're ahead with a call? I mean, it's done and dusted. It's the right call.
It was a wonderful call. I saw him do it at Luton with the bottom pair as well against Eric the Screw Barker. There were 3 left in the main event at the January Festival at Luton. 50,000 to the winner. And Julian called all the way down with bottom pair. He has belief. He knows where he stands. And that hand against Koresh, it was at gut shot, as I recall. It was on that table in the corner, left of the bar. And Koresh was furious, but that's not a first, is it? Lovely man, Koresh. Not seen him for a while.
Have you? Well, he's been banned from every casino in Britain, hasn't he? We see an exit here. Got Chairboy there with top ace, but unfortunately the bad ace rules.
Wow.
Oh well. At least the moaning rights are his. No, the thing with a big call is you're not only. The reason why you need guts is it's not only all your chips you're risking, it's also an awful lot of credibility, because you look like a muppet if you call with the losing hand. If you bet with it, fine, the guy might have folded. But if you call with it,
he told me he knew that Koresh was going to move on him, and he said I was certain he would move with nothing. He said the only danger was he would hit on the end.
That's right. It was on
he
the turn.
said, but I'm ahead, and therefore I'm favourite. And I just haven't got the nerve to make that play, which is why he's the great player he is, isn't it? And of course now he's got a really good sponsorship deal. I wouldn't say it's easier for him to make that call, but he can afford to be braver, because there's another main event next week, come what may. But he's earned that, and he's deserved it by his play. Lovely, lovely guy as well. Lives in West Bridgford in Nottingham. Amanda, his lovely wife. Reuben, the cat. Dylan, the son. Well, that might be better.
Are they players too?
The cat plays.
Has he got a deal, sponsorship deal?
Sponsorship, Dylan, yes. He's that lucky, you know. His cat ran away about 4 months ago and disappeared, and they mourned for it, and it came back a few weeks later. Just wandered in one day.
Hungry.
Yeah, hungry. Yeah, very hungry.
And we kiss goodbye to NW Steve. They're falling thick and fast, as predicted there, because there were some very low stacks.
This really does look a 2-horse race, doesn't it?
Does at the moment, yeah.
But if I were one of these guys with 9, 10, 14,000, I wouldn't be giving up by a long way. It's amazing how you can go into the last 4 or 5 of an MTT, short stacked, and get through.
Let's have a look at the prize structure then, because this is a burning issue for the short stacks when there's more than one of them. If you're the only short stack, it doesn't make much difference. But currently, with 5 players left, they're all guaranteed 5th place, which is $82. It then goes up to 97, and then there's a bit of a jump to 128, and now the big jump starts. To second is 200, and first is 300. So the big old jump there is from third to second.
That's right. That's when I'm in this situation, I look at that and I say, where is my minimum target? And I want to be second here, and I might as well be fifth if I'm not second.
So you're gonna play.
I'm going to play, but at the same time, there's not a great deal of difference between fourth and fifth. If I go out fifth or fourth, it doesn't make a great deal of difference. But if I'm one of these guys with 12 or 9,000, I'm not that troubled, because one double up makes a huge difference. And the blinds at the moment, 500, 1,000. You know, the guys are going to push all their stacking, but the fact is, a proper raise is only what, 2.5, 3,000. So they've got a couple of hands. I like to have a re-raise in me. Even the guy with 8,300 has got a re-raise. If someone makes a raise of 3,000, he can still stick 8,000 in. And, you know, you need a bit of a hand to call that, particularly if it's one of the other shorties. The two deep stacks, I mean, if I'm sitting in that position, which is a rarity, I pretty much keep out of this for the moment, because I'll be second in a minute. And it's a whole new game then. This is where Duke's going to make his move. I wonder if the one on the button's going to have a pop at this. He'll be in trouble if he does. No, he's let it go. Well, he's sitting out, I think. I don't think he's doing much wrong here. And now we may see these two clash. Ace-9 is, in this situation, five-handed. You know, we talk about small aces, but that's not a bad ace on a five-handed table. I still want to move first with it, though.
Are you going to call or go all in?
No, I only go all in. There's no way I can call. Oh, my goodness.
Might make some difference now.
Well, they both think they're winning. Now, you see, if he had done that, if RNC had done that, Warrior would have passed, or he would have called and lost all his chips. Oops, it could be a split, yeah.
Split now, yeah.
Goodness me.
Aces of fives with the queen kicker, split on the turn. Yeah, could have action here. Mopper's going to
got three hands here. Oh, he's got. You see, he's. I have to say, I don't think he's doing too bad here. He's keeping out of the way.
Mopper.
Yes, he could have got in trouble with that hand. He doesn't want to double these short stacks up. As it happens, he's winning here, but he doesn't know it. Warrior's taken a pot. I've got a feeling hot. Oh, hot's called. Will he call again?
Well, strange bet there from Warrior. So he burnt off a sixth of his chips there on the turn. I thought he was going to make a good move on the river and take it down, but it didn't work out that way. And blinds have just gone up to 600, 1200. Difficult situation trying to take the big blind, take the money off the big blind, but he has showed himself reticent to play. And so Warrior does take it down, and Mopper doesn't really want to play. Difficult to know what to do with the kings. At least it doesn't look like kings, but he doesn't get action.
He's not going to get action. You know, I'd have limped in that situation with that five-handed table, because I need action now. There are times when it pays to, well, not when it pays to limp, but it just makes sense to turn up the gamble dial a little, because you do need to double up. He'll move again here, I would have thought.
I think if I was going to raise that much, I might be inclined to stick it all in.
Well, I think he should have stuck it all in, because if the guy comes back, he's stuck with it.
Yeah.
So I think he should have gone all in there, but it made no difference. It had the same effect. And he's built himself up into a solid third now. And poor Warrior may have to move the lot in here.
Yep.
And well,
I don't think you can call Tikay,
no,
can you?
no, because of he leaves himself with 4,000 if he loses. So he's got that one through. He's not going to get a call from Moffa for sure.
And he's been lucky, Warrior, not to be legitimate hands, but not to be called when he's so short stacked. Some players will just.
We haven't seen Moffa play a hand, and
no.
I think he's played the best of the five. How bizarre is that? Because he's kept out of the way. He's holding his firepower till he needs it. He wants to get heads up, this guy.
I think we go to a showdown here. TK, I think Duke's is lost patience and will call. Oh, it's just been flat called.
Well, he's trying to trap here.
Wow.
Now he has to call, that's it. He's trapped and he's worked.
Well, it's an extraordinary trap, but it's going to be split under most situations.
Yeah. It was a weird way of trapping, but that's what he expected. That's what he hoped to happen.
I don't understand the move from Warrior. I move all in there and take the blinds. I see little equity in giving him a chance to see the flop. And as it was, in fact, he would have won more that way than splitting it.
So he moves again here with his ace-9. He's getting used to this. He's getting comfortable with this moving in lock now. So he plays half his pot again. Well, now that's hard to understand because he cannot put the hand down now. We're interested. We were talking about Barlog's pot odds. I think this is a different situation. I think having put that amount in, the bet makes no sense to me.
None at all. He's got 1,800 he can pick up there. And look what happens here.
And there we go. We've said it makes no sense, and he's got paid.
He's got paid, but he can't get the rest of his opponent's money, and he gave him a chance to catch a flop. Nice odds. 3-1 Hot Rocks was getting on a 2-1 chance to hit a pair. Crazy play. It's fine to play with finesse if you've got the chips to do it, but if you haven't, you can't. It's that straightforward.
Now the two big stacks are in the same pot. Moffa's got a big hand, but he doesn't like this flop.
He might let that go, judging on previous performance. Yeah, he doesn't want to get involved with the big stack. You're right, TK.
I think tactically he's playing this ever so well. Moffa. He's keeping his powder dry. Let's get heads up. He's my winner. Not a very brave selection, but... Oh, dear. He won't be putting this down.
No, Duke's...
I have to say Duke might take a pop at this. It's not the worst flop.
Oh, Duke gets away from it.
No. Now he gets away from it. The sixes can survive now by getting off this hand. I wonder if he thinks he's... I wonder what happens if Moffa puts a little bet in here. He ought to get paid, oughtn't he?
Do you think he thinks he's winning?
That's a little bit unlucky for Moffa, isn't it?
Well,
to be holding the nut flush draw when it comes 5 clubs.
He didn't bet.
Oh, here comes Duke's hand. Now what's Duke going to do with this?
Now, what is the point in flat calling when they've got so few chips, Moffa? They've only got 10,000 as a maximum. That's unwise play. I think he played that very badly.
Moffa?
Yeah. Maybe call Hot Rocks. He's got all the chips.
He was hoping to catch a free flop. That was the thing, and he didn't. You know, sometimes you get greedy and impatient. He probably gets called here. Yep. Oh, he's got a bigger draw now. He's got it though. He's got it. He's got his. You see, he hung around with a few chips, and now he's in a solid 3rd place.
I wonder how his play will change. Warriors, I mean. Yeah, RNC's got to move it all in. No two ways about this hand.
Yeah, there it goes, and he gets it through. I do like being able to see everybody's cards. I guess people can perhaps get a little upset at critical comments, but it's so unusual to be able to see everybody's hand.
Well, if you come and play on a TV table,
yeah, that's the price.
You have to expect it. But of course, you have your right to reply. You can email us if you feel we've missed something or misrepresented the situation. And we do like to receive emails from people in the game.
What an extraordinarily professional link that was. Like a segue thing.
There it is. Text poker in your question to 84222 or poker@pokernightlive.co.uk, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk to email the show.
You run out of emails there?
We do seem to have run a bit dry. We've got a thrilling multi-table final there. Aces all over the shop. Mopper. Trying to buy that very, very cheaply. Is that a split? I think. Oh, no, there's a 9.
There's a 9 there.
Yeah. A pair normally doesn't split it with no hand. Wow, pair of aces up against nothing. Just a flat call, I think, here.
Yeah, you have to trap here, I think.
He may raise you before the flop, he may raise you on the flop.
I would play this as exactly as if I was playing a heads-up game, and I would not be raising.
No, I flat call there too.
Then again, I'm really not in a position to discuss heads-up play tonight after Mr. Ironside's despicable comments.
But apparently he just got lucky, Tikay, so what's
oh,
the
absolutely,
beef?
he did. Very lucky, 5 times.
RNC, I think, going to get called down here. Well, 9's still ahead, but the Queen sinks him. And he is our 5th place finisher. It's taken us a while to get down to 4, having got down to 5 so quickly. And let's see how this changes the dynamic of the table. Amazing how Warrior has managed to get himself back up.
One of my very, very dearest friends on Blonde has endeared himself to me tonight by saying, lol, laugh out loud at TK yawning on live telly.
Why am I not entertaining you, TK?
It's late. I mean, it's past my bedtime, for goodness sake.
Do you want some Horlicks?
Well, I ordered some. I didn't have any, and that comes from a guy called IFM, who's a sort of the gentleman from somewhere near Coventry, I think. Lovely fella. Can't play to save his life.
That's a very candid comment.
We got on a table last night, and the very first hand, we sat down early on the table, and I sat to his left deliberately. But all the seats weren't taken, so while I wasn't looking, he withdrew from the tournament and then re-registered and got on my left.
Fair enough. That sounds like a
It
plan.
was rather sneaky. And the first hand I found aces and he found kings. It was one of these sort of cat and mouse things, raise, re-raise, re-raise. It took ages to get all the chips in. And when he saw my hand, he was crying like a baby. And then the first card down was a king. Oh. I trapped him like a trap thing.
Well, I don't think that's a terrible example of play on his behalf.
He thought, I played, because I care about the guy, I played it in a way that says, look, I have aces, you fish. But, you know, there's none so blind as those that can't see, or something.
Are you listening to this, IFM? Look, kings. Come on, stick it in. Why not? That'll tempt the big blind in. Oh well, you were never going to get paid then. And King 8 suited, also going for the minimum raise steal. Stolen from as he bet. And Queen King, good for a raise. He's trapping that. That's a trap call. He's hoping his opponent will catch a worse king or worse queen.
Yeah, you might catch a heart as it happens.
Now, minimum raise here, which seems to become the order of the day, may well get a call. No, Hot Rocks has ramped it up slightly and still got called. And we may see check here. Possible that Warrior has a pocket pair. Possible he has a queen. Both hands he's going to want to play with. No, Hot Rocks has bet out to find out where he is, and that does take it down. And Mopper basically has been treading water for the last 15-20 minutes. And if you tread water in a tournament, you're basically making money because people are getting knocked out. Once you've reached the money, that is. No sense in treading water at the start of the comp because you've got to acquire chips at some point. What you have at that point is only a fraction of the big blind around about the bubble. And I think for my money, it's going to have to be Hot Rocks. He's played a little bit more aggressively than Moffa.
Well, he has, but Moffa has sat there with the view that he doesn't want to get involved until it's two-handed. And patience is a great virtue. I still think he's tactically playing the right game.
Mm-hmm.
And his stack has increased from 60 to 70 while we've been doing that somehow. Quite how Warrior survived, I don't know, but we did make the point that you should never give up as a low stack of 5 because one or two hands can change everything. He's got 20,000 now. This time he shows his hand because he's got one. And if Morpher limps here, we might even raise away. He's got an over and a gut shot here against 2 overs. And a gut shot.
Oh, too small, Warrior, too small. And Warrior should check here.
But does he call a bet? That's the point.
Well, yeah, that is the great question. We'll never find out. Difficult, I would say, TK. Difficult.
Depends on it. Oh, here might be some action here. Well, who's the braver? Neither. Come on, somebody take a pop.
Oh, how about raise? Ah, he's calling down, hoping he's good. And now he's going to call and hope the king's good. Yeah, unfortunately, raise would have taken
he's
it.
caught the straight, look.
Ah, I missed the straight.
Yeah, he's caught the wheel.
Warrior got away from it cheaply.
And there's another situation we might get here. I think Warrior might move in.
No, he's got
now. He's in trouble now. He can't.
The king there, unfortunately, means Warrior can't bet the flop. Can he bet the turn if Mopper checks?
Oh,
maybe.
Now he should bet here, in my opinion.
Yeah.
This is not a trapezoid, and he should have bet more than that as well. But he didn't get any customers, so. It's strange that Mopper didn't call there.
And I think a positional bet in order from Mopper here, assuming Hot Rocks checks. It's just a percentage play here. He's got a reasonable chance of being ahead, and there's a reasonable chance his opponent will fold. And if he's going to get raised off it, well, maybe the guy's bluffing, but probably he's got a hand. Good luck to him. I think a bet on the flop is in order. Actually looks no more suspicious than a bet on the turn, having seen Hot Rocks check twice. And now at the river, he can flat call to see if his ace is good. But no more he does, but he loses to a pair of deuces. Now, action. In goes Duke, Hot Rocks calls, Mopper runs for cover, and Duke needs to catch an ace, which he does. 2 of them, in fact. So Duke, who was starting to look like he was bleeding away, doubles through. And again, we're back to a sort of equilibrium state where people have got chips to play with. They're all playing pretty good poker as far as I can see. No one hugely off-kilter in terms of the amount of raising, calling or folding they're doing. But I think, put my money on Hot Rocks. But really, the contest could go to anyone. I'll raise slightly more myself. I can raise a bigger amount there and still easily get away from it and give my opponent fewer reasons to call. But then Duke has played fairly tight. I just feel that minimum raise from small blind is begging for a call. Let's put it this way. You need to have seen your opponent fold to a minimum raise against a small blind raise when he's in the big blind before to try it on. Some players will routinely call in the big blind against a minimum raise. Hot Rocks looking for a value bet. Yeah, he's put in the most he'll imagine he'll get paid by against someone who's losing to Ace King. About the right size, I think. And how's Duke going to play these? He's played so tight now that a flat call would look a bit suspicious, so he takes the reverse psychology option and puts in a big, scared-looking bet. Not a bad idea, I think. Warrior perhaps feels he's got a psychological edge over Duke here and calls there, I think, expecting to make a move at some point. He's going to be in trouble if he does, and he can fold that. He can fold that against a tight player, and he does. Now we've seen very little in out-and-out pre-flop stealing. Basically, four-handed, people have basically been holding reasonable cards when they steal. And I'm a little surprised by that. Not a monster ace-3, but stands to be ahead.
Good structure, this.
Yep. Same again, 3-4 times the big blind. That's what he does. Mm, 3 out of 3 for Hot Rocks.
Average stack is what, 30 big blinds, something like that? What have we got? 56, 106, 120, 150, 38,000. 25 big blinds?
More like that, I think.
Yes, very playable. King 6, King 7. Be nasty if a king drops.
No sign of one, 7 instead, so it's kicker versus kicker, and small amount of action, but not much.
Duke with the King 8. Hot Rock's got nothing to defend with. If we go back a quarter of an hour, Warrior and Duke were hanging on by their fingernails. And now, although they're still third and fourth, they're right back in it. One double up, and they could be chip leader. Yeah, one double up can make them chip leader. And now Warrior's starting to get cards. And he might, if he plays his right, get action here.
I don't know about you, Tikay, I'm going to raise here. I think my call looks so suspicious, I'd rather raise.
Yeah, that's a little raise, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pumping the pot.
Yeah, he likes his pot. Now he needs to bet. That's it. Take it down. Hot Rocks can't call. He's thinking about it, but he can't call. But now we see Warrior has got 35,000, 34,000. I picked up another hand. He's definitely having to play in the rush here. What happened there? Did he check?
So the chips slowly seem to be equalising. Queen King good for a raise, just the minimum. Don't think it was that wise. Now look at this. Mopper makes 2 pair, Hot Rocks makes the straight. And Mopper's playing passively. Very passive play, calling there with the 10, and he's let himself be outdrawn. And I think he needs to make a decision there about whether his opponent has an ace or not, because for sure some sort of straight or overcards draw is likely to Mopper's 10s.
Do you like my tie?
Yeah, I do like it.
There's a chap on the forum who says the brightness on his telly is down to his lowest, just in case they turn the camera on TK again. I take that as jealousy.
I would.
You know, because I'm like a fashion shepherd. The man dresses like a tramp, and he says that.
You add much needed colour to that particular portion of the TV.
2 pairs here, but he's got nothing to defend with, so I have to say Warrior is really impressed here. But I'm still backing Morpher. Is that Morpher? Moffer?
Mm-hmm. Mopper, I think.
Mopper. No, is it M-O-P-B-A?
Who can say? Not I.
I'm trying to. What's he do with his pair of 6s?
I'm backing Mopper to be the next out.
No, Mopper's the winner. Trust me.
Okay.
Ooh.
Lots of minimum raising going on here, but it seems to have acquired a convention that all the players respect.
I've never seen poker as a spectator sport, but when you can see all the cards, it does make a huge difference. I imagine if you're sitting at home with a bunch of guys, or a bunch of girls as the case may be, and, you know, a mug of Horlicks and a sandwich, you could have a good laugh at this, good fun, analysing the play. They had some live tournament poker on the TV a few weeks ago, and whilst it wasn't the greatest final table you've ever seen, I thought it was splendid to see people's play. I hope they have more of it. Not messed about with poker, as I call it, not novelty poker. Oh, look at this. Now we're going to see some action. Oh, dear.
Tough. Can you call here? I don't think you can.
Well, I think he has called. Oh, a good straight. Goodness me.
It's easy to say you can fold when you can see the guy's got queens. Of course, he might have ace-queen, but...
Yeah.
And yeah, ace-king... I don't know, TK.
Well, you know, I stick by my bet. I've said all along that Moffa's going to win this. It's not a time to be faint-hearted.
No, it's not, even though he's a short stack.
Yep, he could still win this. Look, he's hit that flop so hard. If it came runner, clubs, spades is there.
Clubs and represent it for a backdoor club flush. Slow playing quads. When's he going to spring the trap? Next hand.
It's sprung.
Mopper in trouble now, so down to 6 big blinds. And he's got 2 rounds of the button to move, this one or the next one. Preferably this one, because it's going to be easier to persuade people to fold. And now they're relatively chipped up. Someone may take a chance and make a punishing call with not much to Mopper's steal
This is
attempts.
a nice hand to move with. If I was in his position, I'd have stuck it in there.
2 live suited cards.
Yep. He doesn't have much longer to wait, does he? Oh, well, I told you he was the best, didn't I? He was just waiting for this. And he's going to get action as well.
He's
It's going to look like a still. Warrior has to call.
Yeah, it was a suited King Jack, he's got a call.
Well, that's no good.
There we go. Don't lose faith. My man is nailed on here.
He's a short stack. Hot Rocks will bet 3 times the big blind. There it is. That's his MO. And he's
He's
going to
got
have
a
to do it
half
again.
Wilson there with 7-4. If you couldn't negotiate your way to this final table, you'd have to say that if you felt you could play, you got an edge here, because it's very playable, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're still, even now, after playing this final table for probably over an hour, the blinds are 2-4, are they? So, average stack, they've still got 10 big blinds average, I think. 50, 100, 140, 35, yes. Now, what another blinds are 1-2, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
$18 big blinds.
I tell you, Tikay, I tell you why I think Mopper's going to go. I think he's the least tricky player. I think any of these players can read him.
Well, I've now my flag to his mast from the moment the competition started. You've lost faith in him, haven't you?
Well, I never really had that much faith.
Yes, you didn't have much to lose, did you? I can spot these guys. He's the winner. Well, some queens out here, aren't there?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Behave.
Hot Rock's hoping that will be red for a bluff, but it's not. And probably a call here from Hot Rocks, looking to exploit Mopper on one of the later streets, but Mopper's not going to let him, closes him out.
Do you like my hair?
It's lovely. What are they saying about your hair?
He said it wasn't anything to do with a tie, he said it was to do with my hair, this IFM chappy fella.
Just ignore them.
I am ignoring him.
Beastly.
It's not even irritated me. I've not even noticed.
Oh. Well, he's caught. But
Oh, how unlucky was
being
that?
rivered.
How unlucky was that?
That's
I
right.
told you this guy couldn't win, didn't I?
Ace 3,
You wouldn't listen to me.
beaten by jacks. How
Absolute
unlucky.
muppet. I said it from the start.
So Mopper goes. I don't think he really had to move there, actually.
He was ahead
When was he ahead?
until he was behind.
So he's gone.
Well, I to be fair, I tipped him to be first out. Look at this, queens against aces. There's no way off for either of these two guys. Hot Rock is going to double up here. And if he doesn't double up here, then he won't double up. There you go. I gave Hot Rock as the winner from the start.
Yeah, you did. I said that Mopper was going to win and Hot Rocks was
You
going to be
did.
first out.
You did. Oh, Warrior's still hanging in there.
Well, I wonder if we're going to have time to take this to its conclusion.
I was actually
before the
thinking
end
that
of the show.
they're playing on. We have to pull the curtain down soon, presumably.
We do, and there's plenty of play in the heads up when they get there.
I just have a feeling that this will finish just before we go off here.
Another one of your great reads there, TK.
Well, I marked your card on Moffa, you wasn't having it.
Got an email from Thomas here. He says, I don't think the answer to eliminating the luck factor in poker solely lies in accumulating more chips, as TK suggests, although more chips always helps. I think it's more to do with playing lots of tournaments and having the bankroll to allow you to do so. If you have a small roll, play a lot of small tournaments till it grows. There's not much luck over the course of, say, 4,000 sit and goes. Oh, we've lost Warrior.
Thomas has a point there. I certainly wouldn't say that's the only issue in having more chips, but it certainly helps. You can withstand beats if you have more chips. $4,000 sit and goes. That I know a gentleman called the Tank that played 4,000 sit and goes in 4 months for charity. Now that's for devotion. Wordsmith, a wonderful guy, Welsh.
Welsh?
Yes,
Oh, you like the Welsh?
Comes from Wales. Of course I like the Welsh.
Hello. Yeah, I think you do have to go all in.
In they go.
Hard as a call, but still highly
Wow.
doable. It's going to be chops. Aces and queens with an 8. Unbelievable.
He was a little unlucky there, I thought. He caught some of that. I think we are near to the end here. I think this is shove 'em in and hope time. And if I were Hot Rocks, I would set Duke in every single hand. And when I'm massive chip leader heads up, that's what I always do.
Difficult to call then, no fold equity.
I must say, Tom, I've enjoyed tonight. I was very, very nervous. The people coming on the forum wishing me well has helped. The questions coming in from the blondes has helped. And you are a true professional, to be serious for a moment. I really appreciate it. I've enjoyed it immensely.
Thank you. Could you uncross your fingers?
No, I just occasionally I do mean what I say. And I meant some of that.
He's a difficult man to read, our TK.
It's been really enjoyable. I know I'm going to sleep now because the adrenaline's buzzing. But I was a little nervous about it. But on the Poker Zone forum there was lots of good luck messages. The guys on Blonde have joined in the fun, in the true spirit of Blonde. It's been a wonderful evening. I really enjoyed it.
Well, me too, TK.
I'm dreading getting home and getting this email that says, "Dear Tony, we've enjoyed working with you. However..."
We'd like you to present a regular slot called TK Takes Abuse.
Yes. Oh yes, because we lost a few viewers earlier, didn't we?
No, they'll be back.
You think they'll be back, do you? The Scots and the Welsh and Liverpool.
Well, I hope some of the Blonde forum users will find their way onto the Poker Night Live forum, and some of the Poker Night Live forum users will find their way.
Well, there's been
across
some
the
cross-fertilisation, if I can use that
Well, I
expression,
wouldn't go that far, but
already.
just talking.
A
needs
number
to
of
each
them
other.
have moved across to the Poker Zone forum. I noticed a Miss Reed, who had a remarkably similar style to an articulate sheep.
Wow.
He won't die, this Duke, will he?
That's it.
He's dying now.
It's all over. It was Hot Rocks. Well done. What a great tipster you are.
To be fair, he was my tip from the beginning.
Don't matter how many legs the donkey's got, if TK backs it, bet on it. Bet everything. Bet your house. Bet your friend's bankroll. Suzanne says...
Oh, Suzanne. The lovely Suzanne. What has she said? Is it
She
not?
says,
I bet she's going to be nice to me.
She says, "Darling TK." It's a friend of yours, isn't it? Your wife, no?
I don't have a wife. I'm you know...
Gay.
No, I'm not that.
Yeah.
No,
Well, that's not what Suzanne says. She says, "Darling TK, I know you're the perfect gentleman at the table, but how do I cope with men who have disgusting habits at the table, such as scratching themselves and showing off their loud digestion problems?"
Well, Suzanne, who's a very, very nice young lady with two lovely girls.
I thought you couldn't say something else then.
No. I would... There's some frivolity in the gallery here as well. She's a lovely lady. I would just say to her that these men with these habits aren't men at all. They're children, and she has the ability to be more selective. Lovely lady, Suzanne. She goes under the name of Suzanne, I believe.
Oh, extraordinary.
No, she started playing in small sit-and-goes, and then she started making her way, and we played in a competition only last night, and she played splendidly. I think she came third. The winner was different class, though.
Well, look, we may have finished tonight, but Poker Night Live rolls onwards. Tomorrow night it's Lindsay, the lovely Lindsay, and Malcolm the Rock Harwood. What an amazing pairing they are. It's just a shame that Malcolm's married, otherwise I'm sure he'd be well in there. What have I said? Oh dear. Things you say when you fill out the last 15, 20 seconds of the show. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you, TK. I love the tie, love the hair, love the way you played the Ace-King. Shame you got busted. I'm sure you'll do better next time. TK will be back a week. Is it a week today?
Next Wednesday, if we survive till then, yes.
With the lovely Lindsay. Until then, keep watching Poker Night Live because we love you and we want you to come back.